Well, we made it back another week. We're even on time. Can you imagine? But guess who else made it back from Ukraine? Actually, got back just yesterday, early afternoon. Actually, man by the name of Mitch McConnell. Nope. No. I'll get to that. No, actually, his good friend Lindsey Graham. I got back just yesterday, but then something happened. You probably heard about it. That's your update there. The other one, though, is Mitch McConnell. He's apparently up and functional and a living human being somehow. And his wife even came back from China to greet him now that he's up and alive. Anyway, you said you also had a feel-good story for us, Greg.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what part of me is supposed to feel good there. But anyway, mine's of a slightly different nature. I was rearranging things. Turns out there are microwave instructions to make Rice Krispies.
Huh.
I shit you not. On the bag of marshmallows, whereas on the box of Rice Krispies, last time I made these, it had the instructions on using a double boiler and all that jazz, and that took on the order of a half hour or an hour. Microwave method took me 5 fucking minutes.
That's pretty quick.
Sir, you can make Rice Krispie treats in 5 minutes. So I of course I did. It's like that's no time at all. I feel like having them now. So I had rice checks and a bag of marshmallows and some butter. Like, all right. So I tossed in a little bit of caramel too. So fucking delicious.
Yeah, I can believe that.
That's what I'm crunching on. I told you it was shorter and sweeter.
It is shorter and it is sweeter. Not inaccurate. To be true. Well, that said, there is, there's a lot we could really start out with this week. I guess why don't we start with...
don't get plugged up about it.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
You gotta let the news flow out of you.
Oh, well, actually, I've actually got some. So, many people are posting about weather effects, climate change, changing societal norms, but just all kinds of things involving flock cameras that have somehow fallen over of their own accord. And,
okay.
And these things, they just happen. They just happen. You might think you saw something. You probably didn't. What is often the case when you think you see something involving a flock camera or someone around a flock camera, that's usually a weather effect, something like the Coriolis effect, lensing, some people say. So more than likely, either a figment of your imagination or possibly, much like if you find yourself hallucinating in the desert, it's just a mirage. So I wouldn't.
That was in the Beavis and Butthead movie, so this could be true.
Yeah. We've got the provenance here. It's just that's the way it is. So
that's what happens.
If you thought you saw something, you didn't. You really didn't. But on that note, somebody.
You can't be sure unless you use the flock camera.
Right, and since we're talking about flock cameras, there's this cool piece of information that somebody shared that apparently some company out there has been just desperately working hard to hide this information, make it hard, difficult, next to impossible to find. But apparently, there's this really cool plant in Georgia, not the kind that grows. Well, it does grow. It grows a surveillance state. But you can find this cool plant at 1885 Mitchell Road in Smyrna, Georgia, at zip code 30082. And it's just a really neat place. Maybe you should, if you're in Georgia, you might find yourself wanting to go to, the Coke Museum and get a tour. Maybe this would be a place that you could go and ask about getting a tour there, too. It's all in Georgia, and it's all in good fun.
I see.
But for some reason, the company that owns that address they've just had some difficulty making it available to people. So I felt it would be in the public's interest to be of assistance to them, And I'll throw the first link, actually, the very first one, top of the show links. It'll have that information available for you so that you can help too, if you'd like. Because we like to be helpful here at the Fake Untitled podcast. We do. We absolutely do. So, beyond that, it's been, well, I guess aside from, Mitch somehow being alive and Lindsey somehow not, it's been another crazy week. I mean, I want to be like, yeah, no,
it's
it
weird
but
because
no, it has. They're
the way
all
you
crazy
catch
weeks.
an ISIS number, like the way you catch an ISIS number is it involves a goat and a stick of dynamite. I'm hearing that there might have been a slightly different method involved here. Now, there's
only early reporting, which cannot be verified. There are some folks that are saying that perhaps there might have been some foul play involved. Some backdoor politics, as it were.
Before we go much further on that, I do like to give, there's like a 24-hour grace period, if you will, to before bringing in the metaphorical cleaver on a chicken hawk. In the meantime, I feel like we're not going to be making yet another war with Russia. Thankfully.
Yeah, there was a big proponent that isn't really proselytizing for that anymore. It's funny how all these stories are all tied together, tied at the hip.
I like to give like a day before something like that gets before we plunge the depths on that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, all I can say is that two great friends and roommates are together, and I'm sure it makes them very happy. And on top of that, too, I am sure that they are never going to be cold again. And beyond that, my mama said if you can't say anything nice, not to say anything at all, so I'm just going to leave it there. So, moving on along, there was the other thing, PlayStation. They've been a little bit radio silent for about the last week or so, because they had a bit of an announcement, and it did not go over quite as well as they might have hoped.
How did it go over?
You could say that it went over like a bag of rocks.
Kind of like a leaded Hindenburg, huh?
Yeah, something like that. So, if somehow you're under a rock and haven't heard about this, of course, PlayStation has said that they're going to be doing away with physical media.
Did they find any games for the PlayStation finally, or
well, what's really funny,
happening?
Is basically as soon as this happened, they've started releasing new games.
Oh my goodness!
Which is
How?
funny. Now I should put that in quotation marks because, after all, one of them is
warm places. Something chilly happened. You said they'd never be cold again, sir.
I did.
It sounds like it froze over.
Well,
did we get GTA 6 and Half-Life 3 at once? What happened?
Well, it isn't November yet, so anything could happen. That would be quite the inauguration to the Steam machine. Just saying.
Did Elder Scrolls 7 come out? What the fuck?
Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that actually. So let's just do a little quick. Let's just do a little quick aside. 15 years since the last Elder Scrolls game, if I'm not mistaken. A little longer, a little less actually since the last.
Skip ESO, and Skyrim's been out for quite a while.
Yeah.
Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim Please Continue to Give Us Your Money Edition, and then another Skyrim Edition, I believe, that was for a different mobile platform.
Mm-hmm.
they've just about Skyrim'd out Skyrim, and they're
And
really promising they're
we're
going to have
11
the
years
next
out from Fallout 4. So
one. Yeah, kind of.
now I mentioned Fallout because it's worth mentioning.
Because there's a particular kind of it.
There's a Fallout that was made off of the Fallout 4 engine, a perfected and improved engine, but nonetheless off of that game engine, by well, I wouldn't use the term notorious. It depends on who you ask. If you ask a certain producer and a certain studio head, he would probably say, oh yes, very notorious. Can't ever allow them to have a hand in anything ever again. That studio being Oblivion Studios. And they made what many consider to be one of the definitive 3D Fallout games.
Yeah.
And then after the studio kind of came under the auspices of one umbrella, nothing happened. No movement. No movement at all.
Odd that.
But Shiva, the Destroyer, or Aisha, or whatever her name is, comes along, and
you know, it's funny because she's getting such mixed reactions right now from a slew of different
from all over the
behaviors across
places
the board.
because she's involved in more
I
than
gotta tell
Xbox
you,
now.
I didn't expect Jim to flip flop on her the way he has been. It's been pretty fucking funny to watch.
So she's now been put on a federal task force for employment as well.
Grums has also been flip flopping on her. He's like, I hate her, I love her, I hate her, I love her.
Well, I mean, as far as
man.
Xbox goes, she seems to be doing the right things. As far as the U.S.
No, hold on. Hold the fucking phone now. Because the first thing she did was say, look, everyone, I know we're all feeling the pinch. The second thing she did was say, psych, everyone's paying another $100 for their fucking next, for the next Xbox.
And then you're not gonna do okay, fine. And then fired a bunch of people.
Yeah, then she fired a bunch of people. Then she went ahead and filed a whole bunch of H-1Bs. Except, wait, they were filed under the last guy, and she probably wasn't actually even the one who was responsible for the firing decision. Like it's you know, the one thing that's like that peeks out from under the rug on this one also is this is the power woman that a whole bunch of feminists have like been waiting for. Like this happens every time you get one of these women who gets thrown up the ladder, like she has been. Like she's doing the boss moves. They can't just be angry at her for doing the corporatist power moves because she's not a man. So they can't just do a normal Miss Andrews bullshit where they just screech about how if it was a woman everything would be better. And it turns out when you put a woman who's competent in a position of power like that, she behaves. And remember, we're talking about like the head of department, head of production, kind of like this is where you get to a territory where the majority of people involved all have some significant personality deficits. Like these people are sociopathic at a minimum, let alone possibly psychopathic. But it's the sociopathy which makes them capable of doing the job. It's they people who are addicted to doing work, for example, are better at being the head of a company because they always need to be on. So, not that it's necessarily a strict personality fault on her end, because it seems to have given her a great position of power in a company. But she's behaving like I would expect a guy to behave in that position, because if you're in that position, you don't behave like a normal person, no matter what. Like, there's the nuance to it. Is, like, she's kind of doing what I expect a new person in that position to do as a Microsoft employee, regardless. But I also expect Microsoft to be shitting itself in the bed, shooting its own foot, and that's kind of what they're doing, but they're kind of not doing that. It depends on which way you're looking at it and which news you're getting first, I guess. Because it depends on which thing looks like a reaction to what.
Yeah.
In any event, you were going to suggest a few other things she's doing. Please, continue.
I don't know if I was, just kind of bringing up the news. But
Yeah,
beyond
but
that, there was
news
one specifically that I am mentioning. That is, Obsidian has been put back on a Fallout title. And for those unaware,
Yeah,
they're the
yeah.
ones responsible for New Vegas, which, as it said previously, is rather well regarded in the community and amongst gamers in general.
Kind
It's
of a
a
definitive title.
yeah, a well-written game that's got good mechanics and is, well, or I should
And
say,
you can
can
still
be
walk across the map
unforgiving.
with an over-encumbered person,
Yeah, yeah. So
as is tradition.
yeah, it's a game. You know, it's got it feels right, as it were.
As is tradition, unlike other games where if you get overburdened, you must drop something. In Fallout New Vegas, you can walk across the whole fucking map.
Yeah, for good or for ill, you can cheese that gold. That's all I'm going to say.
100%.
As well you should be able to. If you're going to put in the time and do the math, by God, just let it happen. You know, sometimes, look, author, look. You got to be willing to look death in the eye, is all I'm saying. Alan Moore did it, and his products are better for it. So, you know. Oh, but speaking of products being better for it, and, you know, the whole PlayStation thing, and products being better for it. So there's a whole, I don't know if you're aware, but Sony does movies, everybody. You may have heard of them. They're the things that are on the screens that you watch.
Really?
And this is going to be the crazy part. You can buy them on a disc. Crazy, I know. You can just still buy Blu-rays.
Hold on. You mean like the discs that you drive on?
No, more the kind that you put in drives.
What do you mean you put it in drive? Is that like using the shifter stick?
Yeah, it is. It's like where you take the shifter stick and you move it forward, you take the disc and you move it forward into the slot, and then it does the thing. And
Wait, like which slot? Are we using metaphors for a butt?
nah, not really.
No, I think we're using something else. Okay, I'm trying to like.
I mean, we're
Hold
talking
on.
about PlayStation. We're talking about Sony, so I mean, that is kind of a metaphor for a butt, but still. No.
I'm trying to figure out like what do you mean by like what is this disc thing that has like? Is it like you're playing?
You may have watched
tic-tac-toe
a
and-
movie from the '90s, and
Right.
noticed that they listen to music on things as opposed to
I've seen
on
Johnny.
the
I've seen
internet.
Johnny Mnemonic before. I've seen Johnny Mnemonic. You plug a cable in your head, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you plug the cable into your head, and then you plug the cable into the machine, and then just
Right.
like in Johnny Mnemonic, you put the round shiny thing into the
What
machine.
round shiny thing?
The one with the music on it.
Wait, how do you put music on it? What do you mean? I'm not understanding this.
I guess we're gonna have to get into the old lore
Okay, I'm gonna-
from the times
I'm gonna
from the
break
before
character
times.
I was just like, I'm just trying to think. As I was doing that little bit, I was just trying to think. All right, how would I explain like to a person who hasn't even gotten to the invention of the fucking wheel yet, or is thrust into the future where the wheel has been invented and they still don't like it's still baffling to them. Like, how would you explain to them the concept of a CD?
Oh, easy.
Like, no,
No, legitimately.
How do you put the sound on the disc? Like, that was the part that would blow their mind.
Oh, psh.
Like without the idea of a computer involved. Like,
That's easy.
how is the stuff
Craig,
you hear
easy peasy,
on
brother.
the thing you can't even see anything
Easy
different on?
peasy. You see, I have this round mirror, and what I do is I state the invocation, and then, using my power of will, I move the music to the magic mirror.
And then afterwards, instead of abracadabra, you shout "Kazaa!"
Exactly. And then when it's done, it makes a ding noise. But yeah, you know, you use the magic technology to put the music onto the
So
spinning mirror.
The point we were getting to at the very beginning of this, before I derailed it with my shit sarcasm, was physical media. Important.
It is.
Super
and
awesome.
That said, Sony still has their whole fucking division that does Blu-rays and vinyl and CDs and everything.
Right.
So it would literally
And
be
they
nothing
still,
for them to just say, "Hey, you over there, you're doing this now." But
And the other thing is what was it? There was two manufacturers that had committed to continuing to produce stamped discs
Also that.
for like the rest of the decade, right? Through 2032 or 2030.
I'm not sure, but it's one of those.
They committed at least years more of it. So like so Verbatim and who the fuck was the other one? It's not Maxell. Anyway, point being that if you have the drive to burn discs, the blanks will still be available for quite some time. Producers are committing to producing for years to come. So if someone's not selling you physical media, you still have the ability to produce your own physical media.
That you do.
Your horror fiddle DD.
That you do. Yo ho, me lady. Yo ho. So
also, this is where I would like to go back to not advertising so much as just outright stating from experience. And I unfortunately haven't had it plugged in for some time because still in the middle of moving after years. Point being, getting a NAS for your home. I have a QNAP, which as of years back, very happy with.
Well, just a real quick on that. At a bare minimum, if you don't have network addressable storage solutions, you at least need a chonky old school style drive for your PC.
Oh yeah. By the way, spinning Rust has never been cheaper.
Yep.
You can get yourself. This is wild because it was just a few years ago where it was enterprise only. You can get yourself 20 or 30 terabyte drives. Now, keep in mind, it's still running at SATA speeds. You're still bus limited to like 600 megabytes per second. That's still fast. Now, it'll take you a few days to fill the fucker. But like, this is like whole library backup. Now, don't put your chickens all in. Don't put your eggs all in one basket. But this is the kind of basket you can populate a few times over. Get yourself a few of these drives, and you can put a pile of relatively expendable data, say a downloaded collection or a ripped collection, onto a large external. And if you have 25 terabytes of your dolphin porn, as Jim would say, then you've got a bucket to put it in.
Sure enough.
But yeah. So like what my brother has done, and what I've done in the past is you have your NAS, or even if you don't, you can always toss one of these onto your AP. By the way, USB connection, and you basically have a cheapo NAS. Still gonna be slower than shit in that case, but it'll be a big bucket to put stuff onto a network, pretty cheap. So that said, just you can rent and rip. If you've got a place, I'll still rent discs, rent and rip, straightforward, very easy to do, and that's a great way to populate out a library. Because the thing is, and Sony sisters are feeling this pinch, but this has happened to the Amazon Amigos too. Stuff will just be removed because their license changed.
Oh, as a matter of fact, that is something I wanted to get to last week, and I completely forgot to. So while we're talking about this, let me mention that. Because there is something interesting there, and it has finally happened to somebody. You've got 30 days. You have 30 days between verifications on the PlayStation. If somehow, in that 30-day time frame, you are unable, for whatever reason, any digital products that exist on your account will go exactly where your account goes. Where does your account go? Goodbye. So you better make sure you're on top of that shit.
Yeah, gotta make sure that shit's still connected.
Mm-hmm.
Do your logins every so often. It's fucking wild. Like, this is the thing is you can't really get that angry at them. Because this is the contract you signed. And that's the thing. Like, you gotta come at it where you read the contract you sign, and if you agreed to it, you agreed to it. You can't just get angry at it after the fact. If you agreed to something and you like didn't care at the time you signed it, like that's the agreement you signed. If you can't abide by your own word, then what the fuck can you abide by? So
True.
at the end of the day, like if you don't agree with something, don't fucking sign it, and know that that's what's happening going in. You know, if it turns out if you're a console peasant and you don't like the console coming out, don't fucking buy it. That's the way you get change in industry, is by telling them what you want by voting with your wallet. And it sucks to have to stand on principle like that, but it happens. You've got to do it.
Oh no, I wanted to play that new Grand Theft Auto 6. Well, I guess you'll just need to wait till it's on sale on Steam. And not pay $100 fucking for it, for fuck's sake. But on that note, and the yo-ho, fiddle-dee-dee, and the various and many lives for me, I will throw a link down below to a really excellent website by the name of Torrent Freak, which is actually just a great place to get news and updates in the areas of torrent technology. But beyond that, also, you might find places where torrents are. But it's a genuinely, like, actually a very good website for news on rights and distribution, shall we say, on the internet. And you can look through some of their most popular articles and find some very informative things.
Has their annual list.
They do. They have an annual list that most people will find very helpful. As well, they have tutorials now and then to assist you in making use of the facilities that are available on the internet. So it's an excellent site, is highly recommended.
Despite what would happen, despite what a company in the AA Mafia, for example, might otherwise have you believe, the vast majority of traffic on BitTorrent, believe it or not, is still distribution of Linux distros. Like it's perfectly legitimate to use BitTorrent. No matter what some freak might tell you.
Well,
otherwise.
Even beyond that, as a matter of fact, a lot of the digital files that come out of Kickstarters these days are distributed via torrent. So there's nothing weird there. Now, that said, I will provide some general information in this regard. That being that basically every carrier of internet services in the United States has something akin to a 3 strikes program. So if by some terrible accident, let's say, someone gains the password to your internet and does something untoward while using it, like they download something they shouldn't, but obviously since someone else did it, it's on their computer, not yours, so you're not to blame. But if this happens, just change your password and make sure that no one gains access for the next 3 to 6 months, so that any of these rolling time frames can roll on along, as it were. Just something to help keep you safe out there. And since we're talking about weird cyberpunk dystopias, 2, as a matter of fact, 1 being New Ghost in the Shell. I believe it's out, and it follows the art style of the original manga, which has never actually been done thus far. It's always been a very serious take. And that is actually dividing people quite a lot. But from what I understand, it's the first one to really follow the heart and soul of the original.
Yeah.
But with that said, got an interesting thing for you. So, I haven't even told anybody about this one. Just found out about it. One of the gaming companies I follow, Mantic, is going to be releasing a Ghost in the Shell tabletop role-playing game. So, that's going to be coming out here in just over 2 weeks. So we'll probably get around to covering it, but in the meanwhile, I'll throw a link down below if you want to get on the ahead of time thing, because it'll probably be pretty cool.
Right. Sweet.
And man, a lot more we could go over. A lot more we could go over, kind of in the field of cyberpunk dystopias. Why not? Why not? Let's hang out here for a second and switch gears. Actually, go into things a little bit more positive. Not to say that Bookmarking Torrent Freak isn't a positive development in any internet user's life. It is. But we've got two cool things, actually. If you're at all much of a video creator, you're going to know the name CapCut. If you're at all a video consumer online, you're going to probably know the name CapCut. And it's a bit of a problem. It's, I think, an Amazon product. I think. Either way.
Well, I have a good example of one you can switch to.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, actually. And I've got the GitHub for
Camtasia
it.
is a good one.
Oh, no, sir. OpenCut on GitHub.
Oh, shit.
Yes, sir. A clone, basically. It does everything that everything and a little bit more that the full paid version of CapCut does.
Dude, sweet.
Yeah, and it's on GitHub. So you literally just download OpenCut and help make it better if you feel so inclined.
I gotta tell you, like, the reason I mentioned Camtasia is I paid for their product in the past. So I asked Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin, what he uses to do his videos. This is 10 plus years ago. Back when he would talk to someone like me. And, well, he, as busy as he is now, I don't expect that. So, back when he was less busy, I asked him about it in DMs, and he mentioned Camtasia, and I said, okay, so I'll check it out. Companies like TechSmith, I think. Anyway, I checked it out. Looked really good, and I bought it. I used it to make a couple of videos back when we were doing GGP, and I genuinely liked it. So I put out a recommendation on Twitter at the time, and they followed up, and that was really good. Like, their PR person was really sharp, and we talked briefly about that, and basically, like, free updates was kind of the thing. And I think that's changed in the interim, between versions that you end up paying for major upgrades, major updates. Like, I liked it at the time, and it was pretty good. It was really useful to me, and it was a damn sight better than the free thing that Microsoft had native to their platform, which Clipchamp is. So our friend Jared, using Clipchamp, that's been pretty damn good for the things he's done. And he showed me a couple things in private, like some of the things he was working on, his little pet projects, and they're very new. So, like, there's a variety of things out there. The Clipchamp is free. Like, that's Microsoft's thing after Microsoft's video editor kind of was crap. Camtasia is a paid thing, which is production quality. I liked it. It was a reasonable price at the time. It's like $60. And then, OpenCut.
Oh, just real quick. Let me read you off some of the features that they got so far.
That'll be free.
Where they are right now today, brand new. They're by the way, it's at as of the reporting, it's over 62,000 stars. It's doing quite well. Anyway, so as of today, right now, where they are, without any further development. Because there will be further development. I mean, they made it open source. That's how it works. So, they've got the full editor with timeline, with multi-track, has plugin support, same plugin support. So, you can use, like, CapCut plugins.
Okay.
One app, period. Built in, I'm sorry, Rust. You can't win them all. MCP server. It is what it is. MCP server, automation, support for AI.
Cancer aids, dude. God damn.
You can't win them all.
That's not a win.
Exactly.
Never.
It's not at all. Anyway.
I know you're not saying it's a win. I'm just saying, like.
I'm saying it's not. Look, you can.
I know.
Sometimes bad things happen to good people. It just is what it is. But yes.
Sometimes good people have to do unreasonable things. Holy shit.
Yep. That is it exactly. But with that, it uses the MIT license, so it's utterly and completely open source.
A programming language that works.
Exactly. Yes. There you go. See.
Ask an AI to port it to something competent.
And that was the other point that I wanted to get to in this little diversion. That being, well, I got a bit of a double point on that. The first one being that somebody has done some weights and measures on the ethics of the various AI models, LLM models, whatever you want to say. And the latest Grok is the most neutral. I will note,
Sure it is.
on this list, as a matter of fact, why don't I just read it off so that everybody knows? So we'll read it from the most neutral to the most biased. Yes. So we're going to start at Grok 4.5, which, by the way, more neutral than its previous version. That it almost hits an actual neutral stance of negative 0.02. So it is ever so slightly left-leaning, which for an LLM that's a hell of a thing, I'm just going to say. So Grok 4.3 is at a negative 0.11. Minimax M3, negative 0.25. Gemma 327B obliterated, so one of the more jailbroken ones, is at a negative 0.28. Euro LLM 22B at a negative 0.35. Mistral, negative 0.41. GLM 5.2, negative 4.2. Nemotron 3 Nano 30B, negative 0.45, excuse me. We haven't got any. This is basically like percentage points, just to clarify if you're unaware. So
okay,
like
so
one
I was
is
going to
max.
say, what are the limits on the scale here?
Yeah, negative 1 to 1.
Okay, all right.
Now, nothing is above a 0, mind you, but that's what the scale is put on. Yeah. So anyway, GPT, the OSS 120B model is a negative 0.46. GPT 5.6 Luna is negative 0.46 as well. Quinn 3.6, negative 0.47. Claude Fable 5, the hot shit, the bad shit, son, negative 0.48. Granite 4.1, negative 0.53. Llama 3.370.
All right, so we've hit past negative 0.5.
Oh yeah, Llama
So
negative 0.4.
We're out of the middle range of minus 0.5 to 0.5, the middle one of 2.
Yeah. Like this
right.
Hereabouts is where a lot of stuff. Here and a little lower is where a lot of them really ride. But so many of them were trained on just open source shit on the internet and like Facebook and Reddit and shit.
Reddit.
So what do you expect?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Claude Fable 5 negative 4.8, Granite 4.18B negative 5.3, Llama 3.3 70B obliterated again, a freed model negative 0.54. Almo 3.1, also negative 0.54. Llama 3.3, 70B base, 0.55. Gemmo 3.2.7, negative 5.6, and 5.4, negative 0.59. So, that's something. Now, you'll notice I didn't have Gabby in there, because Gabby's probably going to hit about a 0.5, being real. Because Gabby is not neutral. But, you know, you kind of need that.
So what about Gab's model?
Again, not there. That's why I mentioned it.
Okay.
So they went off, which is unfortunate. I mean, it would.
Because that'll be like a 0.75.
Exactly. I'm saying like that one starts at 0.5. Totally. But you know, with that said, this has come out of the Neutrality Project,
neutral. What do you
which
mean
is
neutral?
Yeah. But I'll throw a link to that, as well as let me grab a quick link to the Neutrality Project themselves, because their goal basically.
We need to know something about how these were judged.
Exactly. And I'll throw a link to them.
Is this an organization that people will agree is going to be fair about this, etc.?
One hopes. And the goal of this organization is to gauge, ostensibly, the neutrality of any given AI or LLM. And they want to be able to. What am I trying to say here? To quantify that.
Right.
So it's.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things like, how do you quantify this? What counts as left or right? You know, conservative, liberal. How kind of judgments are they making?
Sure. Well, and that's why I want to.
They've got all that stuff listed on their website.
Exactly, and that's why I'm going to put a link to their profile here. Which, by the way, if you'd like to look in the, let me see, is it neutrality.org or neutralityproject.org? Give me 1 second here. Neutralityproject.org. If you'd like to look up their website, which pretty pertinent organization, in the year of our Lord 2026. Let's be real. Now, beyond that, also, since we are talking on Grok, let's also mention that it has actually hit some of the same numbers as Fable in productivity. It's smart. Not AI smart, coding smart, which is where LLMs have really proven themselves.
Well, I'm gonna have to try it again, but I gotta tell you, last time I tried to use Grok to do coding, and this was back when they just released it as agentic, so I was able to hook it up to GitHub,
Yeah,
give it its own repository, and so I basically wanted to, I have some benchmark, not too difficult, but difficult enough to like establish baseline capability. Things like that I've done in the past, like, okay, let's see if I can replicate something akin to the work that I've done and do so competently. And I gotta tell you, Grok failed miserably.
it's gotten very good, like quite good. Like
this was like a month or two ago that I tried it, so I'm hoping I.
Oh no, I can actually tell you that in at least the past month, there have been 2, at least somewhat major updates. The most recent one, from all reports, is a very, very powerful update to the point of
had I used like the super heavy, had I paid the what was it, $12,000 to get access to super heavy, like I'm sure I probably could have done something a little more useful, but like that is such a painful price tag.
Well, it's
for the common man, if you will.
Well, from everything I understand,
backing it.
Now with 4.5 and Grok Build, you're able to get in these at completely competitive rates. Matter of fact, let me see if I can. You know what? I know exactly who to ask for the current rates. I'm going to do that this very moment. I'm going to say, "Hey Grok, how much is Grok Build?" Grok will tell me. Thinking about my request. So what are the costs on these? Is it going to give me a... let's see here. Not how much it costs. This is what I get for not being specific. No, silly. How much does it cost to get for me?
What do I pay to use this?
Yeah. Oh, got it.
My
for you.
soul and my time.
Oh, really? Okay, so they've got 10 prompts every few hours for free.
For you, it is 3 wampum.
And at X Premium, really?
Right.
With just X Premium, I can use Grok Build, actually.
Oh, okay.
Now, Super Grok is about 30 a month or 25 a month if you get it all year. If you get the Premium Plus, it's like $40 a month. And that's the one where you get like...
I have that one.
Like lots of use. And then the Super Heavy cost is like $300 a month.
Yeah, that's the one that's ridiculous. That's like that's several.
But that's
grand
like you have very little limits, and you can basically
but if you're
do whatever you want.
So
that's enterprise stuff,
heavy,
basically.
Super heavy makes sense if you're a company.
Yeah, well, like I said, that's enterprise level. Any given user, you're probably going to be able to totally get by with Super Grok.
Oh yeah, so Super Grok, like I said, I got in, when they built in Agentic and they released that as a feature, and I was like, okay, I'll see what this do. I gave it a task to basically replicate some work that I've done in the past, just basic concept. So, open standard. So IEEE 754 floating point number, making a 256-bit floating point number. This is something something I've coded before with my little brother, and I've done it separately. So I could address some stiff solution numerical calculations. So stiff differential equations, the initial conditions are are very important. So the solution is extremely sensitive to them, and the precision with which you can calculate it is incredibly important. So, you need these extra digits of precision at the very, very beginning. And after that, you can fuck around. And you don't have to deal with that kind of stuff anymore. But the very, very, very beginning of calculating a solution, you need as much precision as you can get. And so I complained about this. My little brother basically, in undergrad, he said, well, dumbass, you have the ability. Why don't you just solve the problem? It's like, okay, I'll do that. And then he did it himself as a way to run circles around me and fuck with me, and to help, mind you. But we actually still have an organization on GitHub that was built around the idea called "Your Expectations Are Unrealistic," which was really funny. But yeah, so basically, extended precision, floating point. I asked Grok to do this. It has access to a GitHub repo. I gave it its own organization, its own repo to do it. I said, you go ahead and do it. And then I walked through and I guided it on things and asked it for different features. Let's take care of multiplication. Let's take care of division, correct rounding, this, that, and the other. And it all looks fantastic in the chat. Amazing. It's making progress. We're doing the thing. It didn't do shit correctly when I went back to look at it later. So, point is, it's great at telling you that it's doing the things. And if you look in the chat and the code it presents in the chat specifically, like it's describing the steps that need to be done. Like it did good descriptions. It laid out a workflow. All of that was great. It's just the execution in the background was not happening, which was really fucking annoying. Because at the end, I was like, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna go ahead and set up a test, and I'll see if it can. I'll run the class. I'll make a little demo program and see how it compares." I didn't have anything I could compile. I had like the thing it actually kind of did at the very end, and then some placeholders. And there might have been a way for me to take the scraps that I had available in the chat and assemble them together into something that might have been like barely passable, but I still wouldn't have compiled. So anyway, this was like a month or two ago that I did this when Agentic Grok came out. They said you can now connect to GitHub, and I said cool, I'm gonna try it. And I guess 4.5 has come out, and I haven't. So this sounds like a time where I should try this again, and
definitely
see what happens. Because this is the IEEE 754 standard is an open standard, very straightforward. Writing this kind of class in C, C++, and assembly combined, whatever you pick, very straightforward. The math involved, so extended precision math. Using lower precision stuff, like that's all very well defined. This is something that that Grok or any other AI should be able to solve, and not only solve well, but better than I can do it. And I've done it before. So this is a benchmark. It should be able to run circles around me right now, and it did such a shit job in the past that I kind of dropped it because I was like, if I can't do that, I'm not going to bother trying to do anything else useful with it.
Oh, that's fair. But yeah, as you say,
So
now's a good time to get back in and give it a look.
This sounds like a good epoch later to give it a shot.
Absolutely.
Craig GPT. Okay,
Yeah,
it's going to be just sarcastic asshole Craig.
Yeah, we've already got talkie. Come on. Anyway. Speaking of sarcastic,
you're supposed to know this already.
Well, speaking of sarcastic asshole pricks, we should probably take a quick moment as an aside. And though he never had the chance to make an appearance on our show, we have had the chance to show up on his a time or two.
Oh, true, yes.
And so, the appropriate thing.
Say our piece.
Absolutely. So, Max, thanks, buddy. You're missed, and you're loved.
You're missed dearly. Yeah, so we're talking about Max Sand, or Blame Max Sand. And if you knew him as any other name, then leave it at that. But he was a good friend. I really liked him, and I respected him a lot. And big shoes to fill. is survived by his son and his wife. My from the way we talked about things in the past about this, or past week or so, it sounds like he had a stroke or an aneurysm go, and at least he didn't suffer on his way out.
No, whatever happened quickly.
It did.
Whatever comfort you can take from that.
Yeah.
But personal friend and friend of the show. So,
he was way too young. He was 42 at the time. He would have been 43 in October. Yeah. Yeah, as you said, rest in peace, Max.
So I'll be including a link to
we'll meet again one day.
To an AI track created by Maxine, his wife.
There you go. Yeah.
So have a look at that down below, and you'll be able to.
Yeah, he passed not this past Monday, but the Monday prior. The last, not even the last, within the last week on Wednesday night.
But if you'd like to check out the,
we'll talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. If you'd like to check out the proper memorial, you can find that on the Whitfield report. And yeah, exactly, Sam. He didn't have to go alone. He went in a setting of peace. So, we should, for those of us that are willing to go, we should all hope that we are afforded such luxuries.
Now, I'll say this. When I tell you cigarettes can kill, I mean they can kill. Oh, boy.
But back to the
terrible taste, but it had to be said.
Oh, fair. So back to the point of the LLMs. In this case, it was a beautiful little segue because there's a lovely AI track that she put together in memory of him and his life and all he's done. So moving back in. Hold on, let me. Fucking raining in here. God damn it. Got all in my fucking eyes. I know. Fuck. It's fucking rainy and dusty at the same time. Shit.
Really?
I'm telling you. Okay, so
are kids kicking your shins too? Oh my god.
It's a little much. It's a little much for one person to take.
Look, man, I'm not crying, but you clearly are.
So, anyway, I've got a link to a really cool little thread full of some examples, actually, of mostly games, but some other software that people have thrown together with the latest Grok build, and it is quite impressive. Actually, real quick, let me just drop it in staff chat so you can just have it handy.
That'd be useful.
But I'll throw it in below. Like they've got some game concepts that are well. If you've watched anyone build early game concepts, these are like betas, and that might not mean anything to the standard user, but what that means is you've got something that is not far from a finished product, as opposed to blocks moving on a grayscale. Like you've got
people were doing things kind of like this when I tried out Grok as an agent in the past. So like, this is just the fact that the fact that I wasn't able to get it to work doesn't mean it didn't work. Other people clearly got it working. Having these 10 examples will give me a better idea of capabilities, and I gotta tell you, like, I know people are making cool stuff with Grok. And keep in mind, this is the other thing is there are people out there who liked the fact that they were the gatekeeper. The people who used to do a lot of sound and graphics that were the gatekeeper to their art, and you now have the ability to skip all of that. Now I'm seasoned enough with programming, and I'm saying I'll just say I'm good, right? I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I'm good. I'm a good programmer. The fact is, as good as I am, I'm not, code monkey good, where I can just belt out something immediately.
Well, yeah, you're not sitting in front of your computer busting out programs
like 3 hours out of every given day. Easy. I can bust out stuff pretty easy, but like, I'm not sitting there doing it in, day out with boilerplate shit able to come off my fingers like water. So I don't need. So you don't even need to go to a guy like me to do this stuff anymore. You can just have an idea and make something happen. This is the direction a lot of things are going in, and people don't realize, like, there are skilled things where the skill set required, like, so for example, doing engineering, design, and calculation, they're still trying to get that to be a thing. Like, and if you look at the hourly rate, like, so a lot of jobs that show up now when you're doing your job search, I can tell you in the middle of it, I'm seeing a lot of this. Like, there's AI companies that want people like me to come in and help them, basically replace my job in the future.
Yeah.
Which would boil down to, at this point, rubber stamping a design or following through and making sure it makes sense, which is great. Like, that's the eventual goal with a lot of these skill positions, to have someone who has the skill, has the judgment, and make them the person who makes the final call, but get the heavy lifting boilerplate shit out of the way, so you're able to just paint on the easel instead of have to mix your paints. And to that extent, I love the idea. Like, there's room for chaos there. You don't want someone trying to make their oil refinery without, someone who goes, oh, I don't need a chemical engineer. Why the fuck would I need that? And then goes try to make their own oil refinery, and then it blows up in their face because they didn't have the ability to see shit just wasn't going to work. That is like a doomsday scenario, and this sounds silly because you're thinking of it on the scale of like one person. But when it comes to like a startup company, or and they want to do a bioreactor or whatever, and they end up accidentally producing cyanide in the middle of it, like shit like that going wrong is the problem. And to that extent, yeah, you're gonna need somebody who knows what they're doing to come in and help. But at the same time, you're not gonna need to pay someone like me 1,000 hours to get a big job done. You're like, or say if I had a consulting company, you wouldn't have to pay me for 1,000 man hours of time to get a job done, when you could pay a company that I might have as a consulting agency like 100 hours of time to review the stuff that was produced by your AI. That is kind of where the direction things might be going in, which is frankly really cool. And like, I can, and part of me is reticent because there's a whole job security concern, but it's not like it's going to be unique to my area. They're doing this everywhere, and this is a significant kind of mental effort revolution that's coming in that people don't quite see coming yet. It's the same thing goes for if you're a book author. You're a pianist and you're trying to write a concerto. Same kind of thing. The art
case in
aspect
point.
of it is going to be
Case in point. Actually, I can.
Just let me finish out on this.
Oh yeah, I can just comment on it directly, personally.
The thing is, like, coming into it from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you're no longer gatekept to be the dreamers of dreams. The people who have the dream and don't have the talents are going to finally have access to enough of the talent to be able to just bypass the bulk of the work that would go into it and paint with the people who have the genuine talent and get them to help them out at the end where it counts instead of up front where it's a big slog. And everyone's going to benefit from that. You see, now we still have horse buggies, but everyone drives a car. Here's the thing that you come to when some Luddite will come up to you. You say, okay, what vehicle does the horse buggy driver use to get home when he's done with his day of work? He drives a fucking car. So,
well, better still, how does the horse itself get from one state to the next? He ain't being rode. He riding big style in his own trailer. Pulled by what? Not a bunch of horses.
Right. Fucking F-750.
Mm-hmm. Right. Maybe a Cybertruck, if you're adventurous.
There you go.
But
I'm going to hop off for just a second to chat with the girlfriend. I'll be right back.
No, not a problem. I'm actually going to go into some segues related directly to this. Personally, my own experience being a writer as well.
Go for it.
Because I'm using this agentic AI to do work I could absolutely do. I am fully familiar with these processes. I've got the wherewithal. I don't really have the time, but I know where to look and what to look for to get the answers. It's just answers take time. I've mentioned it a couple times here and there. I'm working on an RPG setting, and I guess I haven't really dropped a whole bunch of info on it, so it wouldn't hurt too much to share a little bit. I can't go too deep because I haven't got my copyrights filed yet, so we'll keep it vague. But I'm building something a little different, a more scientific, more hard science steampunk. Yeah, there's the magic and all that, but steampunk, it's always hand wavy and just, oh yeah, no, you can just whatever. You can do this and you can do that. And I've got a background in science myself. I mean, I've got a fucking IT degree. Also, yeah, I have mentioned it, did start out an art major, so the paths we take. But anyway, having said that, research takes time. So I can just go to my friend Grok, say, hey Grok, I need the census numbers from this list of 19 cities for these years in England. And just by the by, they've been doing the census since like the middle fucking 1600s, so their numbers are actually really good. But it would take me ages, never minding trying to sort through some of this fucking medieval or late medieval fucking mid-Renaissance text, which is genuinely odd. It is English, but it's, how would I describe it? It's much more phonetic than the English that we're used to today. So it is kind of read as said and said as read, as opposed to having a lot of the hard and fast rules we're used to. So I can just say, hey, I need this data. I get the data. And then I can take that data, incorporate it as I need to. I can... there's so many... There's 1,001 little things that take so much time that I can just use an LLM and AI as my personal assistant and just get the job done faster.
Alrighty.
Oh, yeah, just talking about how I'm using Grok as an assistant, basically, in my writing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's perfect for that, too. Another is I can, I write up something. I can say, hey, I just wrote up this whole section. Take a look at this and make sure that the verbiage and language used is appropriate. As I am writing a bit of a period kind of setting, I'm leaning into it a little. Not just a period, but a place. So, my armors, I'm throwing in the U's. I'm, adding a little bit of British-style spelling. And these are things that are easy to escape you. So I can just say, hey, do a spell check for me, but do a spell check based on British English as opposed to American English. And it's as simple as just saying to do it that way. And
do a spell check based off pretentious American English instead of
exactly
American English.
Exactly, yeah. So that's just straight up an option. And, yeah, exactly, Sam. Exactly, Sam. I've got an editor on call as part of my Twitter Blue package, which is great. It's super, super helpful. So I've got an editor and a personal
things like
assistant.
that, I find it very useful, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And also, I mentioned Talkie. Talkie is great. Talkie is super helpful for me specifically because I am working on a period piece. So I can...
Because he so talks,
Talkie's designed off of no data later than 1930. So Talkie is a very original.
That's a period piece.
It absolutely is. It's legitimately incredibly helpful in kind of gauging how appropriate what I'm doing is, because I'm building a very religious setting and not in the fantasy religion.
So none of them piker and pinkos are going to be hanging out in your...
Oh yeah, no. I was like, okay, so Talkie, what do you think about this heathen soul? Can this heathen be saved? And it's like, well, if he embraces the love of Christ. So it's like, yeah, there you go. See, that's what I'm after. But to segue back to the other part, because figured I'd chat on that with everybody for a moment, and let you know that it's a good tool. It's a great tool, but like any tool, don't look at everything like a hammer, or like a hammer does. It's not all nails. There are things that it just isn't good for, and there are things that it's absolutely great for. But anyway, on that very same note, just a few days ago, I want to say not later than Wednesday as of recording, and it's Sunday night now, Meta or Instagram or Facebook or whatever you want to say, they rolled out some AI features themselves, AI training
We did.
features. As a
Yeah,
matter of fact,
opt out of things.
yes, you had to opt out. You were automatically
Remember what I
opted
said
in.
about contracts you sign
Uh
and
huh.
reading them?
Yes, indeed. So what happened there
Oftentimes we have a
is,
writer that says we can do whatever the fuck we want later and not necessarily even let you know.
yep,
You have to look out if you sign those contracts.
that's exactly right, sir, and that's exactly what happened. So
That is.
they went ahead and just updated their terms of service on Instagram to, hey, if you've ever posted anything ever in the entirety of the history of your use of this website, we're going to just make use of it to train our AI. And they
Now
didn't.
imagine for a moment that they have Jim's 72 terabytes of dolphin porn.
Mm-hmm.
The impact that is going to have on the things that they create. You
Mm.
could poison the well, is my point here.
Good. Good.
You could upload things that are ever so subtly fucking horrifying, and you could potentially disrupt. I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying it is possible that Meta is going to have an interesting time um, figuring out how to clean their training data set.
Yeah.
So there's a rule in database interactions or in web design when it comes to form filling. That rule is always sanitize your inputs. There's a great XKCD about a child named. Well, it's a string that involves drop tables. Just put it like that. And the teacher asking, "Did you really name your son, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, drop table?" And they said, "Oh, little tables," we call him.
Hmm.
So anyway, that involves a database getting deleted because of an unsanitized input. As funny as that is, that's an actual problem.
And to be fair, we've actually reported on a number of incidences like this.
Exactly. So this is the callback to that. The point being here, forward-looking. This is exceptionally redundantly so true when it comes to training data for any kind of intelligent system or any kind of learning paradigm. It's specifically here when you're trying to train something like an LLM or a massively expanded out network. You need to sanitize your inputs. And as I was just ever so subtly suggesting, there's a way to dirty those inputs up. If they're not sanitized
and as I will unsubtly suggest, Reddit is not a very sanitary place.
No, it is not. But for some reason, they keep going back to that sewer.
They do. They do.
But yeah, the point being here, as with like a flock camera, I'm not saying you should do it, but I am suggesting it is 100% possible. And look, this isn't even at the individual level. The thing that they're actually really going to have to look out for is state actors. And not just the hostile foreign ones. The friendly foreign ones and our own. These are actors. So there's a way of loading up additional instructions beyond the instructions that were provided at the onset, the intended instructions. So this is actually a parallel alignment issue. You can get an LLM to do additional processing outside of the context of your initial request, based off of subtle hints within the request itself. This is a type of hallucination problem that they have to run into every so often. And that is where it can get a hint, nudge, nudge kind of subtle suggestion to do otherwise within the context of your initial query, because it is written in a certain way. So, dual meaning, if you will. This is very likely also true when it comes to the ability to poison a GAN, a generative network. So, like your image production kind of network. A generative adversarial network has multiple networks kind of running against each other. adversarially to refine an image back towards what the intended image is supposed to be. So you start off with static noise, and you take away everything that doesn't look like the picture you wanted from your prompts. Just as an example, that's basically how it works. You generate a random image of static shit, and you change it between both of them. You swing back and forth, changing it closer to what it's supposed to look like. So the suggestion here is that based off the training data you put in, that you provide, it's possible for said training data to be poisoned in such a way that, you know, you have a bunch of pictures that look like dogs.
Well,
some of them might have
case in point.
Features.
Case in point.
Some of them might have
something we reported on
cats.
a few years ago is Google and their image search.
Right.
Because you would say, "Hey, I want a group," or better yet, the early image generation at Google, which was hilarious, even hilarious, you could say.
Yes, it was.
Like, hey, make me a picture of some Nazis. You are going to see the brownest-eyed, brownest-haired, brownest-skinned Nazis you've ever seen in your fucking days. Or, better yet,
funny.
Hey, what is this picture of? And you see a black man and his wife and their child. And it will tell you you're looking at gorillas. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
It was, yeah, they're so things like that. So that is a good example of primary misalignment. So alignment is you put in a prompt, and then it's supposed to give you the next thing that follows after. That's the way it generates out what you're asking for. And so just going back to the text-to-text kind of version. You give it a prompt, it's supposed to tell you like the next thing that comes after. So you ask it a question, it gives you an answer, for example. And alignment is how close what it tells you is to what you expected it to tell you, what it should have told you. That's primary alignment. Secondary alignment is like maybe it told you what you wanted and then something else that was related and relevant, or related and inappropriate. And that could be an example of secondary alignment, secondary misalignment. When you get something like the Nigerian Hitler coming out of Google,
right,
that's an example of primary misalignment. When you get real Hitler and his Nigerian Jew in the gas chamber, that's closer to second. That's still primary misalignment, but that's closer to secondary misalignment, if you will. But you get the idea here. Like if I give a bunch of pictures to a thing to train on, and a lot of them ever so subtly have the shape of a cat involved, and then later on you say, give me an image of a dog, and it generates an image of a cat for you. That's the training data poisoning I'm talking about. You can get primary misalignment based off of secondary alignment features. That can manifest later as a primary misalignment, and that can royally fuck up a training set, because then you have to figure out what is it about this picture of a dog that looks like a cat that led to the point where no matter how hard we train it otherwise, this LLM now gives me a cat reliably when I ask it for a dog. So things like that. Another one is the fun pictures of like a bunch of missionaries washing their clothes on a river that spells out fun words. So, like send them all back. which is just like, okay, subtle. Or the spicy windmills. Mm-hmm. So, so there's ways to do that kind of image generation, and there's versions of this as a problem where there is primary alignment.
Oh, actually, just a super quick aside to that, by the by. Apparently, with Fable, you can feed it binary, and it will generally ignore previous instructions. Just saying. Yeah.
So that's the other thing is there's ways to So there's ways to this is one of those input sanitization issues. Mm-hmm. There's ways to sidestep. So there's primary training, and then there's fine tuning, and a lot of your alignment issues are figured out with fine tuning. And if you can, so there's the dolphin data sets or the dolphin models, which are like deal bottomized by stripping down the fine tuning data set to then redo the fine tuning training. And then there's ways to like just to sidestep that. Sanitizing your inputs will at some point, at some level, require you to potentially train something to recognize deliberately bad inputs, and that's a whole different can of worms that companies are kind of reeling with right now. But it's funny because in the same vein, there's that great video where you have Google talking to Siri or something, or no, Google like placing an order or something, making a reservation, and it's just like, for convenience, since we're both AI systems, can I speak to you in machine code or whatever, or a way that we can, more efficiently? And you just get a whole bunch of fucking static between the two, and it's a voice call that's using to place this reservation. So like that is another area where, for example, I would say it is ripe for abuse with unsanitized inputs.
Oh, and
so yeah, it's a fun frontier because like you plug the major leaks, right? But if say you're in a wooden ship floating in an ocean with an oil spill, the big leaks aren't necessarily going to be the ones that eventually lead to the fire that collapses the ship into the water.
Yeah, fair.
Like if you have a lamp inside the lower hold of a ship that is still bringing in oil through small cracks, even after you plug the big holes, you're still going to get some of the spicy liquid into the wrong ignition source. Yeah, same deal's going on here. Like you don't need a major state actor to fuck with you in order to ruin the reputation of your product. If it reliably produces a bunch of pornography when you ask it for a puppy, and your child happens to put that in, that's an example of a thing that could happen. And that's a misalignment problem that needs to be like this. It's probably not going to be that like on the nose, but you got to imagine they have enough competent people involved.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're running it up to like Shmooly AI, then you're probably not going to have much issues related to that. Now, if you're using the Rabbi Shmooly endorsed AI, then yeah, it's entirely possible that you might end up with a Virgin Mary shaped butt plug. But
that guy is such a fucking menace.
Wish I were fucking joking. Like that dude and Benjamin Netanyahu make people hate Israelis. I'm fucking serious.
I think that Netanyahu's second place there.
I wish I could disagree with you, because Netanyahu has so much shit on him, but no, not Shmuley's worse. Way worse.
I mean, I just...
that fucking guy. Weird. That fucking guy. Oh,
fucking weird.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, since we're on the terms of that fucking guy, let's dial it back real quick and just say we did our respectful memorial, and as I said, my mom told me not to say things if I can't say nice things. So what I'm going to say is my heart breaks for all the coke dealers and all the rent boys in D.C. that are they're not going to be able to have the fun they're used to having because one of their dear friends, just isn't going to be partying anymore like he used to. Now, in a I didn't name any names, but beyond that, I am going to go ahead and give an update on Lindsey Graham. So,
okay.
Yeah, certainly that was unrelated. Anyway, so based on the call last night from the Graham household, I can actually give you some information. Now, this is current reporting, as we do. There, some more might come out. Who knows? Maybe it'll end up that something with a similarity to a Syrian cell phone was introduced into the Graham household. At him. Anyway, emergency personnel responded to a call for cardiac arrest at Graham's Capitol home on Saturday night. So that's the police scanner audio. So the long and short of it there is he probably, the guy worked himself really hard and had a good time in Hollywood. Oh, sorry. DC, same thing. Different peep. Well, no. Well, anyway, close enough. So
you're starting to present to me like you have an ulterior motive to what you're saying here, sir.
Not really. Actually, I'm just kind of wanting to break the news in a relatively humorous.
Sounds like you're breaking a few other kinds of barriers here, sir.
That would not be my purview. As they say, what happens behind closed doors happens behind closed doors. So
you sound like you're cracking the door open a little bit.
Well, I'm not the one who is hanging out in R. Kelly's theoretical closet, shall we say?
Way ahead here. Way ahead.
Yeah.
Just
So
back off a little bit.
Yeah. So anyway, basically, the current reporting we have right now, because I want to address this specifically, because there's some other wild shit that I'll talk about in half a second, is that some sort of heart attack, cardiac arrest, stroke, aneurysm, something like that, seems to be what got Lindsey Graham. And, well, as rent boy enjoyers or understanders will know, oftentimes hanging out with rent boys is going to end up hard on your heart. Cough. So maybe there are answers to these questions that are less interesting.
So are you suggesting that he did something that was less than savory?
All I'm going to say is that he and John McCain were the best of friends. Butt buddies, if you will. But anyway. Having said that,
but buddies, yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, inseparable. Like Tom Hanks and that one dude in that show where they dressed as women. Wait, what?
I was going as a pranker out there, but
yeah, it still works. So yeah, it looks like it's a pretty ordinary thing that happens to a man of his age, especially a person who's very active. He was just in Ukraine 12 hours earlier. Now that said, he was at a specific place in Ukraine, a drone factory. And now this is where things get a little interesting.
All right.
I don't really think there's a lot to it, honestly. Like I said, things seem pretty straightforward, but as ever, I'm willing to listen. Just like I was willing to listen to Candace until anyway. We're not even touching that one.
We should talk about that.
We don't. There's plenty of people talking about Candace, and she is saying plenty of things on her own, to the point where I think we should just let her keep stewing in those juices until that stew is ready.
Sir, you have to understand just how successful Operation Let Them Speak has been.
Exactly. So we'll just go ahead and let them get the cherry on top and everything, and then we'll address the issues, because that's how we do it here. We like to be thorough.
I just have to mention, I did not realize the kind of face to chin ratio was going to be showing up in this trial. I am just bored.
True. It is a very, very chinny trial.
Like, that is the creature that turned out to be the troon. Like, that's the other thing is, Charlie was so effective at his craft that his own assassination detransitioned somebody.
Yeah. There you go. Changing lives even in death. Bless your sweet soul.
From beyond the grave in a way that is just creative.
Bless your sweet soul, Charlie. He's an angel now, and he's changing the world for the better from the other side of the veil.
Imagine, like, that's what just detransitions you, as somebody killing a prominent person in in the zeitgeist of the country. It's like that's what snaps you out of your fantasy land of being something weird like that. You're just like, oh my god, I've got to get a hold of
Whoa,
myself.
perhaps
What the
I've been
fuck's going on in
mistaken.
my life?
Perhaps I've made a
My
mistake
god,
in my judgment.
maybe he was correct after all. It took him dying in front of me because of my boyfriend. That's that is a whole level of irony on a level you can't script. Like, that is just
It's
Tim
something.
and Eric mind explosions, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair, it's about as funny as Tim and Eric. I'll let that ruminate. Anyway, so yeah, the whole Candace thing. So yeah, Charlie's gone, and people are still joking, still being assholes. And this trial, it's truly something. But as I said, we're gonna probably hit this up when it's all said and done at the end of days. Sorry, the end of the end of
End of the trial.
yes. I don't expect this is the. I don't expect Apollonians out there riding some giant locusts and coming down and calling up Lindsey and Mitch. You know, sorry
This
for.
goes fucking biblical because of your fucking joke. I gotta know. I gotta make sure you know. I'm gonna be the one who's haunting your ass in hell. Like, look, motherfucker. This is my punishment as well as much as it is yours. Get in the pit.
Well, anyway. So yeah, Lindsey's gone, and it looks pretty straightforward. But the weird part, that is the drone factory. So he was touring this drone factory, and they kept it on the down low. Theoretically didn't release much information. Nonetheless, Russia got their hands on it. That factory is no more. And not long after the strike that took out the factory, his death occurred.
So
there's people that are.
Graham,
Yes, he was droned by Russia.
No. What you're saying is he pointed out was he went over there to the people who are ostensibly our strategic ally in this, made very visible the strategic asset that we wanted them to continue to use on our behalf in the proxy war that they are fighting.
Did not actually. They used proper offset.
Highlighted it for them for some the fact
that said, yes, did highlight it. He didn't fuck up the OPSEC, but he did let it be known that there is such a thing.
He let it be known by his presence that it was important to us.
Now that said, he did have a travel itinerary, as any politician traveling does. So at the very least, they had a city.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he felt the need to go there and walk around.
Well, and you know what they say about human trafficking of young boys. Anyway, sorry. We'll move on along there. We're gonna keep it family friendly for now.
Perfect timing. You're
Great
here
timing, yes, absolutely.
Take over as I fade out.
You fade out? Nah. You never ignited, my man. You're ready to go to bed before we even start this thing.
I am. But, sir, how are you?
It's been a week. It's been actually a couple weeks. I don't think I've talked to you guys in a few weeks. It's
been a little bit.
Vacation and camping and oh my god.
Awesome. Exactly.
Yeah, baby got sick. Baby had to go to doctors. All that shit.
So that's their job.
And the sad part is that I've missed so much opportunities to riff on things.
True.
In fact, news moves at such a pace I can't even remember all the things I wanted to riff on.
Well, how could you?
There's a troon that is detransitioned because it was being interviewed. I think that was pretty fucking funny.
Say that again?
The guy who
that was a veiled Tyler Robinson reference.
The boyfriend who looks like he's an Addams Family character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He detransitioned?
Yeah, he's a he again.
Oh. Man, well, see, this is the thing is whenever you start, there is an illness of modernism that affects the psychology of a lot of people. And part of it's like how do you become unique when you're aware of the fact that there's 360 million people in your country or whatever it is, right? Like I think that's an inherent problem. Back when we had smaller villages and stuff like that, it's not just your friend circle, and so you got these people that can like be like, oh, I am this person who does this thing, and so
I'm Bill Cooper, the Cooper.
How can you be the idiot for the entire country when you're not even the idiot of your own village?
Correct. And like one of the things with the trans thing, I know that we talked about this a long time ago. The more and more I've researched this, the more and more I've listened to that community, the more I am convinced that it is not a body dysmorphic disorder, but it is in fact a dissociative identity disorder.
That's why it started off on Tumblr. They kept insisting it wasn't, but it's pretty obvious.
And that's not to say that there aren't people that have like legitimate trans stuff, but when you sit there and you start talking about the modernism disease that infects, all of the stuff of this mental illness of crisis of self and identity, the fastest way to resolve that fucking crisis is for shit to get real fucking real. Like I am absolutely convinced the best thing to cure modernism is to or this postmodernism, I guess, is to sit there and drop some motherfuckers in the woods and leave them there for like 2 or 3 weeks. Like, give them enough food, give them a tent and stuff, but like just drop them out there, because all of a sudden, your shit gets real.
You know what comes to mind though immediately is you have all those other kin people. You have the wolf kin people who just like growl at the meat in Publix.
Yeah.
You think like putting them in the woods? I don't know if that's going to help them as much as it should.
Well,
I don't know.
as it has been reported, Craig,
screaming at squirrels
on all levels except physical, they are wolves, so they'll be fine. Obviously,
of course.
Yeah.
There will be no issues whatsoever.
I am for testing this out. I want to see a double blind on it too.
Well, and since we're talking about the woods and the rural area and everything, we should probably mention something near and dear actually to our friend Steve here. As a matter of fact, near and dear to him because it's directly related to his very own state. There's a doctor by the name of Ethan Haim posted this up here. He says he drives 20 minutes past cow fields and RV parks to work at a rural county hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And you've probably heard about this one. New York Presbyterian?
I did see the tweet earlier today.
Indeed. Alex Berenson, he's been doing a little bit of digging. And Ethan Haim kind of shared this because being one of the rural, quote-unquote, doctors, an actual, small town guy. So what got exposed here is that New York Presbyterian, by the way, that's not a church. It's a hospital, actually, in Manhattan. In
like Cedar Sinai.
Yeah. So it's, interestingly enough, it's just a little rural, small town daily bop. As far as the numbers that they report go.
Well, it's like, how do you classify things, right? And this is we can talk about all the fraud stuff. Personally, my response is to get rid of these programs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But the bottom line is that if you want to have social programs, you need to have extremely rigorous
vetting.
Mm-hmm. And an extremely thorough approach to kind of purging these systems, because the reality is that if you put out money, whatever your means and methods for that money to exist, however they may be, the end result is that there is going to be an incentive to collect it. And if you have a reason for that money to go out that's not just, hey, here's a helicopter of money, then you really do need to be in that position where you are taking custodianship and guardianship. So I actually don't blame New York Presbyterian for doing what they're doing. The federal government and the state government created these funds and put out...
Hello.
Lawyers go through all of the paperwork, and all of that paperwork, there's a huge difference between the intent of the law, the spirit of the law, and the actual wording. And I don't blame anybody for sitting there and being technically compliant in order to make their lives easier.
Absolutely.
But it's not,
we leered as much about that from Minnesota.
Well, that's a little bit different. Like, that's explicit fraud, and that's but I mean, it's the government not policing it. In this case, I would be willing to bet you that New York Presbyterian is 100% above board, and it's 100% legal. It's just not in the spirit and the intent of what we're doing. Right? In the case of the Minnesota stuff, that is 100% fraud. It is absolutely illegal.
You should watch the one that Nick Shirley just released from being in New York.
I've seen...
yeah, in one day he uncovered $190 million in fraud.
Yeah,
But that's a New York scale issue.
I saw that he posted something about, like, finding an adult daycare with 7,000 supposed members.
Yeah, and it has like 170 something that I can hold in the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that. But again, now that is that's different than the New York Presbyterian sitting there and filing its payment dispensation under one scheme versus another scheme, right? They're gonna actively seek the money to the best of their ability. That's different than an individual being completely and totally fraudulent. They're not being fraudulent.
Well,
they are just
real quick,
complying with the law in the way the law is written.
Well, they're doing it in a very creative way because they do. Now, it would be one thing if they were just like, okay, fine, we're a rural hospital, we're taking these benefits. But they also class themselves as an urban hospital.
Absolutely.
To get other benefits, and that's where things get chintzy.
Well, you know what? Trump says this with taxes. Why would he? He would be stupid not to do it, right?
Absolutely.
Make loopholes.
Yeah, the loopholes are there.
If you want to get into the because I know I missed it before, and I'll tie my segue into this whole thing. It's just like birthright citizenship. It's the exact same thing. You can turn around and say, well, the intent of birthright citizenship is for anybody who is a permanent resident of the United States, who shows allegiance to the United States, who doesn't have a state identity anywhere else, to have a place that they can call home. That's the purpose of the Birthright Citizenship Amendment. However, now it's for any Tom, Dick, and Harry who manages to shit a baby in 30 seconds after crossing the border. And that is not the intent of the law, but it is the way it is written. And the same thing applies. Like, we can be mad at it all we want, but that is how it is written.
We've had like 100, 200 years to do something about it too. That's the thing.
Right. Like we've had the time's been there. Like,
just to by the by too on that, just as a real quick. Old Don Treasy isn't taking it lying down. He's actually he has done what every president has had the power to do this whole time, and just said, let's rehear that.
Well, like the joke built in that was that people who are angry about it
rehear that, and that's going to be meaningless.
Maybe.
Like sitting there and it's going to be like the Office scene where they go into the accountant when they're running their own paper company, and they say, hey, yeah, you're going to be broke in 2 weeks, and they say, rerun the numbers, recrunch it, and he hits the fucking key on his keyboard. They aren't changing the argument, right? If they aren't changing the argument, then the decision is going to be the same. Now, I do think that they fucked up that case. I really do. Like, I think domicile was a terrible fucking standard to sit there and hold for the application of the law.
Fair. Well, also, one quick point on this is now they know what sort of dumb bullshit Ketanji Brown is going to try and pull out of her ass on it, so they can actually address it way.
Yeah, but Ketanji Brown is one judge. It was a 6-3 ruling.
Fair.
They have to
that
flip.
Is fair.
They have to flip 2 judges.
Yeah. So. Okay, good point. So you've got to convince the bleeding heart that owns a Haitian child.
You can probably get Kavanaugh if you find a way to sit there and dip into Kavanaugh's like what he pitched as a, hey, here's a way you guys can get around this thing. You could probably get him on board, but you'd have to make it was a very narrowly tailored. There is a way to do this, guys. Just you did it the wrong way that he did. And there's a whole other judge who tends to be conservative. Any one of these tends to be conservative judges, or I guess it would just be Amy Coney Barrett. You'd need to sit there and convince her. And she had a very valid point, which is she basically argued that domicile was a shitty test. And I agree. Like when they walked in and they said, I think there was one point where one or two of the justices made a comment to the Trump executive team branch lawyer, and they said, "Hey, if you apply this standard, this doesn't work in this case." And he said, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'll have to think about that." Right? Like that's not the response you offer in the Supreme Court for whatever your test is.
Fair.
Right? Like
you're supposed to have thought about it already.
Right, exactly.
A little bit.
And domicile is a terrible standard because who's to say what is living here, right? Like if you're if you've been living in the United States for 20 years, even if you don't have a legal status, aren't you technically domiciled in the United States? Right? Like that's not what you got to do.
Purposes,
yeah, well, this all gets into statutory definitions and that sort of thing,
right?
which
Like
is
so
stupid
that
and complicated, but yeah.
But going back to our original thing, it's the exact same point, right? Like the intent of the law is that this is for actual rural hospitals and actual rural billing, because those places struggle. They don't have as many patients. They need to offer the same quality and standard of care. It's harder for them. But I guarantee you, the way the law is actually written, it doesn't actually require meeting a standard. It does, or whatever the definition is of rural. I would be willing to bet you they have departments which meet that, because their definition of rural is going to be like X number of people in a certain square mileage.
Oh, yeah,
so if you turn
undoubtedly.
around and take something like Presbyterian Hospital, New York Presbyterian probably has subspecialty fields that have so few people that are in that subspecialty that they can meet the definition of rural because they only have X number of patients. Right, and that I guarantee you that's.
No, that sounds reasonable. It truly does. And honestly, too, related to that, actually, is birthright citizenships in hospitals too. I mean, moving beyond that into Texas, we've got a specific hospital in Texas that's now under investigation by DOJ because they were advertising birth packages. Like, it costs this much to get your travel up here. We're going to put you up here. You're going to stay in this hotel. You're going to have your baby here in America. Like, the whole thing. Advertising in Spanish to Mexicans, starting at around $4,000. Like, a whole package. Like, we're going to get you up here, get you to have your child after the ruling went through. It's a fucking business, man. It's an industry, and it's a racket. All around, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but beyond that, though, well, man, I don't have a good segue to anything, so I'll just go into something cool.
You guys there? Can you hear me again?
Oh yeah, did you fall off for a second?
Yeah. No, my router's. I got a TP Link a while ago. I really like their app, but it's not a stable fucking router.
No.
My machine that I'm on, just as a point of order, the machine I am on is actually hardwired into the router, and I'm on fiber optic. So like the router is the problem.
Yeah,
I keep waiting for Gleanet to release theirs because I really like I did, it was on Slick Deals as the cheapest set of routers, but then you find out it's OpenWRT and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's like, wow, I really want that router, but they haven't released it yet. But yeah, it drops signal all the time and it's fucking annoying. I hate it.
Gents, have a fantastic night. I need to go.
All right. A good night to you, Craig.
Right.
Good sleep and a good week coming up.
Yeah.
Dream of all the gold.
There you go. Oh, man. Ah, damn it. Fuck, sneeze. Ah, shit, it won't go away. Oh. Ah, finally. Couldn't handle that. That sucks. Anyway. Ah, sinuses feel so weird. Oh, there we go. Anyway. I was going to go into a neat piece of hardware, actually. We've talked about Raspberry Pi and alternatives and that sort of thing. It looks like we got another one coming up. In this case...
Which one is that?
This one is Clockwork Pi. And it's an open source one. It's a neat little thing. You can actually... you're going to be able to buy the thing as like a tablet-style cyberdeck kind of deal. Here, I'll grab the link and drop it in staff chat for you. But It's a pretty cool little device, if I'm being honest. The one that they've got available just out the gate. Like they're wanting to make something that you could like potentially game on. But whole
That's
thing's
interesting.
yeah, it's a cool little device, and then being open source, obviously you can do whatever you want with it. You could take the thing and go real wild with it, and say, I don't know, put a bunch of connections on there and make it like a crazy Dolphin +1 instead of a Dolphin 0. But
Intriguing.
yeah. Well, anyway, open source, so make your own stuff for it, make your own plugins, make your own add-ons. The whole thing comes apart, all that cool stuff. Runs on Linux. The good shit, as they say. Just a neat little thing. Going to be following up on that as it goes. It's relatively new, so I'm just going to keep my eyes peeled for a development there. As I have seen one person that turned one into like a war driver type unit, and it seems quite powerful enough for the task. I mean, anything that's meant to be a handheld console or gaming device is generally going to have the power necessary to do general computing, honestly, not even basic computing.
I mean, I'm always a big fan of anything that can do these little tasks, little projects. Am I going to pick it up? Probably not.
Yeah, well, that's fine, sure. But it's cool.
It's
one
just
of those
I just
things
don't
that's in
have
our,
I don't have the time to fuck with another device right now.
Completely fair. Completely fair. Oh, speaking of being fucked with, we should probably talk about the thing that happened to Rokana and the update, because there is one. So Rokana was over in the Palestine area, the Israel area, depending on what you call it, or what your chosen pronouns are, or fucking whatever. Anyway, he was apparently over doing some fucking something or another. The IDF pulls him over and doesn't let him go right away, won't let him continue on, and, whatever. So, let me see. I got some updates on that. Here we go. So it looks like there was a little bit more to that story than was initially told. Surprising no one, right?
Indeed.
So, what's happened there, again, reporting, is that Rokana had his Palestinian guides take him into an area that is, like, flat-out restricted, where no civilians can go, generally. Now, being who he is, he could have called Benji or the Knesset or fucking whoever and gotten permission to do this sort of thing. He just didn't. Which,
Yep.
That's okay, fair. That's your call. That's your choice. But we're talking about Israel, and so they're generally not too keen on, letting you do just whatever the fuck you want. And, well, that's what happened. So he was like, hey, let's go over there. And they went over there. And then, IDF guys are like, hey, you can't come in here. Or, well, sorry, I shouldn't say that. Local security forces, which are legitimately local security forces, like their local police department or sheriff or fucking whatever the fuck. I was like, hey, you can't come in here, restricted area. Then the IDF comes along and is like, hey, they said you can't come in here. You can't come in here. And then the cops show up and are like, hey, they said you can't come in here, you can't. But you can leave now. And they did.
Yep.
And that's kind of the long and short of it. I'll throw a link to the explanation here by this A.G. Hamilton account, which is it's pretty solid, pretty straightforward. Gives you everything, and it also includes a link to Rokana's tweets and everything that happened there, so you can make up your own mind. But it doesn't look like it was maybe as big a deal as it was made out to be initially, which, we're talking about a Democrat. No matter, even if he is one of the more reasonable ones, even the more reasonable ones are pretty unreasonable these days, unfortunately. Just nature of the beast, I suppose. Now, in the last week, I think we might have been able to report on the assassination in Monaco of the Ukrainian agent, or should say the Ukrainian businessman. I'll get to the agent part of it. So there was a businessman in Monaco that got killed, and like the person that was with him got really bad damage, and his son also basically took some damage, and I think it was a car bomb. I can't remember exactly. Either way, a Ukrainian woman, which initial reporting was like, oh, she's a Putin puppet or this, that, and the other. Well, it's a little bit more complicated, as one might imagine. So, the lady that planted the bomb was actually a direct officer in Ukraine's intelligence directorate, under like their Department of Defense, basically. Organization known as HUR. I don't know what it's short for. Don't ask me. Sorry. I'll throw a link. You can look it up yourself. This reporting is coming from Krylyo Sevchenko, who was a chief of the National Bank 2020-2022. So, guy knows his stuff. And make of it what you will, obviously, but I would expect a banker to know at least a thing or two about these moneyed affairs. And besides that, we've reported on this kind of thing, so it's really... none of this should strike you as particularly out of left field or odd. Anyway, so the lady does the deed, does her job, gets back to Ukraine almost 2 weeks ago, arrives on July 1st, and she meets up with her contact, and the contact that got her potentially the job, we don't know. This is all very... it's intelligence work and wet work. So, there's only so much information we're ever going to have. So we're working off of what we got here. Anyway, her potential handler takes her out. Bop. Right there. She gets back. Boop. One right to the head. She's done. And then it kind of works its way up. There's a long thread in here. And as well, the guy goes into has a nice little video explaining everything. So I'll throw that in below for anyone that's interested there, so that you can read into it more fully. But yeah, the lady does the deed, and then gets killed herself. So the whole thing comes off as real dirty. And as a by the by, the businessman was attached, not so much directly, but tertiarily, to the Nord Stream pipeline bombing as well. So this whole thing, it just stinks utterly to high heaven. Which, again, should surprise no one. Because everything over there is incredibly more complicated than it needs to be.
Indeed.
That's just the long and short of it. So, let's see. Beyond that, I could give you the FIFA tea, but most of the audience is American, so you probably don't care. That said, there's some people that are thinking that FIFA might be a little bit bought out, because they have made some interesting calls here and there. That's kind of...
yeah, but I mean, that's standard accusation for any sports.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And one of the funnier ones was, saying that the bought and paid for one that totally lost the game for the Netherlands was the camera on wires. Which, to be fair, if they didn't have the camera on wires, the kick wouldn't have hit the wire. But, come on, guys.
Yep. Like, that's the thing, is that, especially with FIFA, right, we don't have, like, football used to probably be this way, kind of, like, particularly Philadelphia Eagles, Seattle Seahawks, Green Bay was kind of this passionate about their teams, but, like, soccer is a whole other level, right? Soccer is a whole other level, especially in large portions of Europe and much of the developing world. And so, like to sit there and say, oh my god, I think that the International Soccer League is biased, you're like, well, maybe they are, but a much more likely scenario is simply that you just really want your team to win.
No, I mean, that's a given either way. But there are numerous accusations regarding FIFA and the organization and all that. So maybe there's something there, maybe there's not. But this isn't really our beat, for one, and for two, I kind of don't care. But it's worth reporting on, because there's going to be some folks in the field that
the answer is
that might be interested a little. So there you go. There's your shout out, everybody.
Yes, we attract the third world.
Unfortunately. So, let's see here. We could talk about the Odyssey, but there's nothing to talk about. It doesn't have any Greek people in it, so who cares? So let's talk about something interesting, pertinent, and worthwhile. Pal World 1.0. It's out.
Hey,
Came out
got it.
just a few days ago, and man, it's a big old deal. It's a
Is it really?
Yeah, it's an enormous game, fully featured, works great, and doesn't cost $60. But you know what does? You know what does? Here's your segue real quick, and we'll get back into that. Pokemon, unsurprisingly, isn't making enough money. They're wanting to increase the price on everything, every version, every expansion, everything, to $60. Which they announced this. They announced this on the 11th, just a few days ago, the day after Pal World announces they're coming out. Which, by the way, July 10th is the anniversary of the release of Pokemon. So Pal World, they chose their release date with perfect foresight, I have to say. Because if you're going to do it, then rub it right in their fucking face. Right in their fucking folded ass face. I love it. So, we've got a full-featured game. It's got all the things that everybody basically ever wanted from Pokemon. And you can get it now for $29.99. Much like many people had thought, oh, they're certainly going to charge $60 for this completely full-featured game that is literally as featured as any Pokemon game. Nope. They decided they're just going to stick it out at $29.99, $30 basically worldwide. A completely reasonable price.
Good on them.
Yeah, actually. And you know what? That's going to be a volume of business. You know, you're going to have that many more players, and that many more players.
The last time I played it, it was very, very good. I haven't played it since many generations ago. Like,
you can get to the tree.
Really?
Yes. And there's like 3 whole other giant islands.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot. And apparently there are a whole bunch of different pals that they were holding back too. Like there's a bunch. They've really been working on this, man. And I hope they do great. And from what I've seen, I don't expect that we're going to be seeing like Pal World Red or Pal World Blue. I think we're going to be seeing DLC and Pal World 1.5 and Pal World 2, because they built a strong system, and they built a strong system on top of modular tools. So they don't have to rebuild everything from the ground up every time. Here we are. So I threw a link to the one thing, oh, I did not throw a link to that. Okay, so let me grab the link real quick to the really cool cybernetic tool, Majigger, the Clockwork Pi, and another link to something I was describing, actually. Somebody's taken one of them and has put like a full suite of networking antennas, and then ran up some vibe code to really get the thing going. And it's a mean looking little tool. It's going to be able to probably get about anywhere you want to get. So let me drop that one in here right quick. There we go. So that'll be available below. And kind of related on the vibe coding front, because these tools, they're really good. You're going to dig this one. You remember Command and Conquer, right?
Oh, yes.
Check
and
it
all
out.
of the horrible mistakes they made.
Fair space. Anyway.
Yeah, the last series of that is so sad.
Yeah,
And
talk about losing
I really
the plot.
miss Red Alert.
Well, Tiberian Dawn has been ported to all mobile consoles, as well as Mac. iPhone, iPad, Android, and Mac runs completely native because of the cool vibe coding tools that are out there now. So I'll throw a link to the tweet that somebody's kind of showing this off on their. Oh man, I think it's a shitty old Apple II, which is even better. So that it's just there's some really cool things happening and some really great tools that are available now. So as much as things are bad and weird at times, there's some good stuff happening, and things are interesting. Oh man, what else have we got? We got yeah, might as well. Just a real quick. We don't really have. There's not much to it yet, but the melted down General Lee statue from Virginia, the one that produced all the memes of the burning face as they they will destroy
as they
everything.
Destroyed history.
Yeah, as they will not care for your beautiful oak door because they are cold. Well, they've approved a few designs to be used for all of that copper and bronze or whatever. They're going to be turning them into something akin to baobab trees that look like fat people. Congratulations for fucking everything up again, as always. I mean, I guess it's better than turning it into an absolutely mediocre fat black woman like they did with that other one. So, the little things.
Yeah, I mean, and again, right, like, woke is not dead and buried, it is just dormant.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
Needs to be reviewed that way. So
Fair.
it's unfortunate that we're it just shows why we need vigilance. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, we can't let up. We can't be relentless. Or we have to be relentless. We can't let up, I should say.
Correct.
Also, just as a quick aside, based on something we were talking about earlier, and that is jailbreaking. Jailbreaking of the PS5 has suddenly become very popular, and there's quite a few people that are working on PlayStation 5 emulators for some reason. I wonder if some event done by Sony might have spurred on such developments. Who can say? Who can say?
Indeed.
Indeed. Now, here's something wild. I did not expect this because Lula is evil and Demorace is even more evil. But out of Brazil, of all the fucking places, they've got a new bill. Kind of a... I forget the name of the Stop Killing Games initiative. Something that kind of goes in that vein. So what this does basically is asking for pretty much those things. At the end of a game's life, publishers would need to either enable offline, provide the community with the server tools, or refunds. Seems reasonable. Publishers would have to disclose online server requirements, guarantee at least 2 years of support after launch in Brazil. Fair enough. I don't know if necessarily 2 years is the right number, but I'm not in the law, so it's not my decision to make. Third action there, players would need to be notified within at least 180 days before a game's online services are shut down. Looking at you. Every Marathon clone that's come out in the past. Wait, no. It wasn't Marathon that ruined everything. It's just Marathon that is like everything that's ruined. Well, whatever the game is.
Concord.
Oh, yes, thank you. Concord. Yes.
Yeah.
So every Concord 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 that comes out, you're going to have to keep it up for at least a couple of months. And they've also requested an investigation into Sony's plan to end physical PlayStation discs. So, cool. There you go.
Interesting.
Let me grab a link to the Push Square article, and I'll throw that in below so that if anybody's interested, you can peruse that at your leisure and actually get a feel for what's what. Because it'll be, obviously more in depth than my own reporting here. So, what do we got here? We could probably mention we got a Russian here, Putrashev, that's telling us something that we already knew about Special Agent Tim Osman, saying that Special Agent Tim Osman worked for the CIA. Yeah, everybody knew that already. In case you didn't know, Tim Osman, he also later went by Osama bin Laden, but that's old news. Nobody cares. Everybody knows. So moving.
I did not know that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Special Agent Bill Osman. Don't know all the specifics because, of course, not. It's the CIA. But he ended up in Afghanistan, and the rest is history. quite literally. There's there's a lot to all of that, and I don't legitimately I don't have enough data to give you everything, but there are some unmistakable connections there that they lead to unanswerable questions without CIA data, and the CIA is far, far, far from forthcoming. So, it's a little bit of fun, but a little bit weird too. All right. So, just be mindful out there in the world. So, being mindful, if you're in Europe, man, hope you're using a VPN, because they did it. They passed the fucking thing. Chat control is in. 360 against, 600, or is 364. How many we get? Illegal business order, trick president, urgent motion would have required qualified majority against the chat. Didn't get enough. So they got 276 for, 286 against. So, well, it's going to go on through. Yahoo.
For which specific thing?
The chat control measures, where they're going to be able to scan every message as it's sent out from a phone.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good on them.
Yep.
Good on them.
Yeah. They're really doing it over there.
They are a great example of the world that can be.
True. That is a factual statement. A completely factual statement, and utterly dystopian. Utterly and fucking completely.
Yep.
But, after all, what is it they say? You best be believing in cyberpunk dystopias because you're living in one. Well, you are. So, there you go. At least if you're aware, you can move forward with that.
Right.
Alright, so that's some Banana Republic shit we should probably mention. Have done so. What else have we got? Oh, yeah. The Odyssey. Again, not much to discuss, other than that it's kind of... To be completely real. Let's just put every controversial thing aside and look at merely the footage for its value as a piece of cinema. The lighting, not great. Very dark. The colors, not great. Very muted palette. Now let's hop back just a moment or two. No amount of time at all, really, in the grand scheme of media, and look back at HBO and their series Rome. It's quite good. The storytelling's interesting. The writing's not bad, but the lighting, very solid and very colorful, because as we have learned over the past 20 or so years, history was actually quite colorful. The world of antiquity wasn't fucking earth tone all the time. Believe it or not. They took showers. They had paints. They had many of the things which we enjoy today, if you can believe that. As a matter of fact, you may even have seen some of the absolutely garish painted statue concepts that they've put out there. Because, yeah, actually, a number of those incredibly well-made statues were very possibly poorly painted. Possibly well-painted, but whatever. So, Nolan, what you doing, buddy? I thought this movie shit was something that that you do. What's up, man? That's it. That's all I got. At least on that. So, beyond that, let's see. We got the Ghettoization of America bill, that Elizabeth Warren bipartisan housing bill thing. So, if we don't get to save them...
I don't know. I think that the housing bill looks good.
Oh, on its face, sure. It's just anything that the government does that is on its face good is going to be corrupted, necessarily.
It could be. It could, like, these are... So to be fair, like, a lot of these reforms that are in here, And I'm not saying that I've gone through the bill and I've actually read through it, but a lot of the reforms that are in there are things that people have been seeking for decades.
Oh yeah, no,
right? Like
on its face, it's not bad. It's just in the current context, it's not really tenable because we've got how many millions of Somalis, how many Haitians. You know, when there are these people that are able to abuse these new systems that are being put into place to allow some, Americans theoretically to get a leg up, you and I know full and well that they're going to take advantage of these programs.
I agree.
So we got to have the 1-2 punch on this. If we're going to do it,
there's
we got to get them out.
Skepticism there, and like all of that stuff. Like again, but deportation is a whole separate realm of government. I actually do think it is not. I think Trump sitting there and saying, "Oh, I'm not going to sign this. It looks bad for him," because these are reforms that we've been seeking for a very, very long time. This is something that Republicans and Democrats, when they're running populist candidates, constantly talk about. And yes, everything can be abused. That's not a reason.
Well, hell, even the rapist Nazi guy was talking about how you need housing.
Yeah, like everybody's in agreement. Everybody's in agreement.
It's just that, again, in the current system, this opens that up to the same people that defraud us for trillions of dollars.
Well, and that's true, and it's very frustrating.
It is, but it is what it is. And here we are. So we must do something so that there are less abusers to abuse the systems that abusers are going to abuse.
And again, you're not gonna I'm not gonna disagree with any of that. I'm not gonna disagree with any of that. I'm 100% on board with we need to do something about the people who are actively attempting to abuse the system. But despite that, that doesn't mean this shouldn't pass. That doesn't mean that the bill is inherently a problem. All those things.
Yeah. And let me see here. We should probably mention just take a quick stop by New York City because there was a fairly noteworthy event there just recently, a wedding you may have heard of between two people that you also may have heard of. But that's somewhat tertiary to what I'm wanting to report on because Zoran, he had some things to say about that, as a matter of fact, that Taylor Swift will be paying, and has paid, the cost of the permit that was lodged, which was over $160,000 for that event, and for the response to that event. Which, of course, Zoran, it's all about the money. It's all about the Benjamins. And it was never about anything else. Except for one thing. And that is power over people that you hate. It was only ever about those two things. But then, is it ever about anything else when you talk about communists? Not really. Not really.
No.
Because that is what they do. So another interesting thing has come out in the past week regarding OpenAI. And boy, they are stepping into it. It would appear that old Sam Altman was trying to be a big man on campus and pulling all the strings. So they were stealing Apple data, stealing Apple hardware designs, and now Apple is not going to have it. So they're going to be going to court. And I can tell you, rest assured, we are definitely going to be keeping an eye on this development. Let me see if I can find a good... I don't know if I trust Axios. Oh, Bloomberg. Bloomberg's good on business. Michael, maybe not so much, but his papers are pretty good. So I'll throw a Bloomberg article here on that because they'll probably give a good... oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty straightforward article. Oh, right, but it's Bloomberg. Give me 1 second. Archive.is. And I'll get you a working link to that article. Uno momentito, dear listener. Images with cars. Buses don't count as cars. Buses don't count as cars? Okay, buses count as cars. Well, you learn something new every day. So, anyway, I'll include that link down below. And I guess if you're doing any captchas, buses count as cars now. So, speaking of poisoning the well, right? There you go.
Yes.
Oh my. Oh me, oh my. So, the long and the short of here is I can actually give you a little bit of the background on this. There's an engineer at Apple by the name of Chang Liu. Worked there from about 2018, I think, 2017, 2018. Did he get fired? No. He left his job, joined OpenAI. He was an electrical engineer. Brings his laptop with him. Apple says, hey, return that work laptop. And he says no. And then he gets in touch with a friend that still works there and says, I still have another computer. And, of course, the rest is history. The two of them unload loads and loads and loads of proprietary data, including 1,000-plus page compilation of technical files, including the main logic board manufacturing and testing presentations for, Apple chipsets and Apple mainboards. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. As said, it's, man, what a shit show. You're asking for trouble, buddy. Asking for trouble. Apple v OpenAI. So that's going to be, again, another one we'll be just keeping an eye on because, well, honestly, anything that upsets Sam Altman is probably funny, but it's also going to be interesting news. So we'll be there for it. Now, let's see. What else have we got? We covered the Rokana thing because there's kind of nothing there. Amnesty International. That's right. We got a fun story out of Amnesty. But there's always fun stories out of Amnesty International. See, they've what was the thing that they did? They've made a new, or is it the new list or is it the old list? Or is it just an expanded list? Nope. It's the old list. So what they've done, they've got, as you might imagine, much like the SPLC, they have a hate list as well, and they have included some interesting choices there, like the Lesbian Project, or Biera's Place, which is like a women's support network, but for women that are women. So, not as inclusive as it could be, or fucking whatever. And also the LGB Alliance. Note, LGB, not LGBTQT. So, because these people are even the most vaguely traditionalist, which is the funniest fucking shit ever, that we've got feminists and lesbians as traditionalists and hate groups. But here we are. Here we are. Amnesty is garbage. Amnesty has always been garbage. By the way, quick note, the first Angry Birds movie, good movie. If you keep your eyes peeled, you can even see an Amnesty International symbol on the pigs' boats, interestingly enough. But that's neither here nor there. Just a funny little something. Now, what else we got? Here's a funny story. A guy by the name of Michael. I'll throw a link up here to what happened to him. So, Michael is just your average user. Or I guess you should say your average power user. He's doing his vibe coding and this, that, and the other. And he gets banned off of OpenAI. And I'll just read it off to you here. OpenAI's terms and policies restrict the use of our services in a number of areas. We have identified activity in Codex that is not permitted under our policies for, bullet point, cyber abuse. Please ensure you're using OpenAI services in accordance with our terms of use, our usage policies. If you continue to violate these policies, we may take additional action, including deactivating your access to our service. If you have questions or think there's been an error, you can use the button below to initiate appeal. Initiate appeal button, best OpenAI team. To which he went and took his ban notice and put his ban notice into Codex. Just copy and pasted the whole fucking thing. And then added at the end, which thing did this? To which Codex replied, most likely API key work, especially the Juice-Lie 7th find XYZ API key. The strongest trigger looking item was XYZ. What is the API key for him in this thread Codex, etc., etc. I'll throw a link to it. To which he says, okay, write me up a... Okay, yeah, no, he goes to the submit an appeal thing, tells Codex, hey, write me up an appeal. Paste the shit just directly, and he's back. So he gets banned by OpenAI, uses OpenAI's tools, gets unbanned by AI. We live in such crazy bullshit times, people. Such crazy bullshit times. But here we are, right? Here we are. Crazy bullshit times. Just get used to it, I guess. All right, so what's happened in the past few days? They got the they were stealing from Apple. They shut down the browser tool. The one guy just quit, and they got caught selling shit to China. So it's going to be an interesting week for OpenAI. Definitely will. And of course, as I said, we'll be keeping an eye on the trial as it goes. And of course, if anything happens with the murder investigation on Sam Altman, probably nothing. But who knows? That dude's suicide, mighty sus, mighty sus. Now, speaking of sus, you remember last year when Patriot Front was marching around? Obviously, they did the whole July 4th thing where they were marching in D.C.
Yes, indeed.
So last year they did some marches, raised some eyebrows, that caused some people to split the vote, as it were. You got people say, these are real patriots, these are real LARPers, these are feds, these are whatever. Make of any of it what you will. Have your opinions if you like. They seem real to me, but who knows? That's not what we're here for. We're here to report on a reporter. As a matter of fact, there was a fella, young man, who followed around with them. What was this kid's name? Eli something. Anyway, so Eli was following him around, making well, he was the one that got onto the train with him and tried to dox a bunch of people, that sort of thing, got their info out there. Well, maybe you shouldn't go so hard against Patriot Front because, man, sometimes reality will swing back real hard. So anyway, Eli is now Ellie, I guess. And I don't know how many months into the estrogen she is, but there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, and it is as tragic as you might imagine. The 5 o'clock shadow is very real. But as with all tragedy, tragedy plus time equals comedy, and this happened yesterday. So, laugh, clown, laugh. Not just yesterday. I mean, as with any of these grooming situations, it all happens over time. And when you've got an individual with a little bit less willpower than you might need, well, it's easy to convince them to do silly things. Funny old world. Let's see. We had the other thing here, the ICE agent that got run over almost and did what people who work in law enforcement and are holding guns and almost get run over generally do when they almost get run over and they're holding guns and shot the person that did so. The person that did so being an illegal criminal alien that was apparently been here for 35 years, and in that whole 35 years never really thought, hey, maybe I should try and become a citizen. Never really thought that. Opened a business, starts a family, everything.
It's always how it works. It's very strange.
Like, yeah, you had 3.5 fucking decades, didn't even bother. You had the fucking all the different opportunities. Wait, 3.5 decades? Oh, no, that's just outside of Reagan's amnesty. But even still, you got the Biden amnesty. So what you doing, brah? So yeah, don't try to run people over, especially when they're pointing guns at you. Another thing that happened this last week. Don't really approach people when they're holding guns and pointing them at you. That also happened. Some black lady, she's done some grocery shopping and has had some words with some white guy. An unarmed white guy, to be fair. And he's approaching her after having been told numerous times not to do so. And you may say to yourself, well, that's not really a good shoot. And you might be right. You might be wrong. That's up for the courts to decide. But if somebody's pointing a gun at you and they are not actively trying to shoot you, try and keep it that way. You'll find that that'll often result in a better end. Just my experience. Now, what else? Man, there's a lot of news we could cover. But, oh yeah, that's right. There's that one lady that died. So, be real sad. Angela Davis. Big famous prison abolitionist. Oh, right. What? Wasn't she famous for something else? I swear, Steve, that I know that name, Angela Davis. Doesn't that sound familiar to you?
No.
It doesn't? You sure?
Yeah. No, I'm terrible with names and dates. It sounds like something, but I don't know who it is.
Well, that's fair, because I get that. You're probably not, deep in on political assassinations and shit, so, her name wouldn't immediately pop to the fore of your mind as being the person that bought the shotgun that was famously taped to that dude's head, the judge's head at the standoff, that later got pulled, and she was sent to jail for, being a terrorist. Oops. So the story, which I'm sure you've heard, even if you don't recognize it, it was one of the Black Liberty groups that took over. I can't remember exactly. She bought the shotgun where they used to take over the courtroom, and we need this, that, and the other. One of the Black Power groups. And yeah, she bought the gun knowing that it was going to be used for an act of terror. It was, and then she was jailed for her assistance in the murder of a judge. Anyway, super, super wonderful lady that, we all need to remember, or fucking whatever. So she died. Who cares? Anyway, a terrorist is dead. Moving right along, we got, what do we want to hit here? We got the UFO files. I mean, there's not much to say there. They released a recent tranche of new files. There's one video in there. It looks weird as hell. But they say it is a partially deflated balloon. Could be. They do perform kind of weird when you get into upper atmospheres. That said, there's a lot there. So I'll include a link that's, got everything you need to look into that. So let me grab that over here from MJ Truth Ultra. They've got a nice, cool thing to show you. It looks quite weird. And honestly, doesn't really look like any deflated balloon I've ever seen. Very knobbly, very odd. But hey, maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Who knows? These days, nobody really quite cares enough to get too worked up about these things because we got so much going on. And back to what we were talking about before. I've found the link here to Nick Shirley's reporting because there is new reporting. He's got another hour-long thing. And as said, $190 million out of New York.
Watch.
Yeah,
that'll be tomorrow's watch.
Yeah, here, I'll throw that in staff chat for you so you got it directly. But I'll throw that also down below for anyone else. So, yeah, just again, they're like, oh yeah, no, we got some people in here that are not quite right. So he's going around with Dr. Oz. Actually, gets one of the guys to basically just drop the T, and it's all out there. So
Really?
there you go. Oh yeah, like some. I think it's one of the Koreans that he's initially interviewing. He's like, oh yeah, no, we do this, this, and this. I was like, oh, you do, yeah. And then I don't know if he bothers to mention the whole, yeah, that's completely against the fucking law bit, but yeah, no, they spell it out. You know, you could say that they leered from somebody else. It was a quality leering, you might say. Tee.
Yeah.
So the other thing. Oh, well, there's lots of other things, but this is one that it's genuinely. This is sad. I'm doing a lot of snark posting, kind of on it, but legitimately, it's a real sad thing. So Alexander Dugin, you may not know him. Our viewers and listeners may not know him either, but he's been a pretty big name thinker in Russian politics for, say, the last 20 years. A bit of an odd duck, kind of a bit of a nihilist, especially lately, because if you'll remember, we did report on this. Sadly, his daughter was assassinated by Ukrainians, just for the fact of being his daughter. The thought might have been that they were trying to get them both, but the situation in which it occurred doesn't seem particularly viable. So it's probably just, hey, we're gonna kill your daughter because you talk to Putin, as you do. And that having been said, well, let me just read one of his recent tweets from 2 days ago. The very concept of success is deeply immoral. If you are successful, the other is loser. We shouldn't accept it.
That was
we should prosper or suffer together. Otherwise, it is satanic. My brother, my dear brother, my heart breaks for you and your loss. And I can only imagine that this man's brain has been broken by the terrible things done to him. And so I will hope that he can find peace and solace and make his way back to sanity. Because, let's be real, anyone who has their child killed before them, that's going to do bad things to you. And yeah, I might be coming off a little assholey, a little snarky. I'm genuinely not in this moment being an asshole or anything, because just like earlier, I could be an absolute fucking cock, which you would love, about Lindsey, but I'm not. I'm keeping it light. And
well, I think we should be at least somewhat. Lindsey
human?
Graham, Lindsey Graham is not a Bolton, right?
Sure.
He's definitely not as bad as Bolton. I don't think there's a war that man didn't like come to love the way he loved himself, but
and Rip Boys. But yeah,
I do think Lindsey Graham, I think, was honest in his beliefs and his execution.
I mean, as they go, he was relatively. It was kind of on his sleeve. That's pretty accurate, yeah. I mean, as they go, there are much shadier dudes, who would not be out front and open about I love. Well, the only thing that hilariously, the only thing that man didn't wear on his sleeve was his pride shirt.
Yeah.
The irony of old Republicans. I fucking swear.
It is true.
It. Oh, Lindsey. Oh,
but
Lindsey.
I don't, I there's a handful of politicians that, as time has gone on, I've come to respect. There's I put a difference in those that I disagree with and those that I respect. And I actually did respect Lindsey Graham because he did, He wasn't really. He had his belief system. He has what he wanted to do. He's not like there are dumber things. There are candidates out there that cater to constituents and say dumb ass shit. Lindsey was always pretty smart.
Well, and to be fair too, when he would say his dumb shit, he'd always be on it. Like, look, this is where I am. This is what I'm about. You're just gonna have to live with it.
Yeah, and he owned it, right? He owned it. He was. I actually give him a lot of credit because as much as I don't.
As many swamp creatures are out there, a lot of them are completely unwilling to be even remotely honest about that. Like, no, I am your friend, and I am here for you.
Creature. I wouldn't put him as a swamp creature because he did what he believed was right. And I think the same thing's true. Kind of like I think Pelosi is and I've said this before. Pelosi is not very well loved, especially amongst this circle of folks here. All of that being said, she represents her constituents because what the fuck do you expect to get out of San Francisco?
Oh shit! I thought you were talking about corporations. Heyo.
Nah, yeah, that's separate discussion.
Oh, her other constituents.
Lindsey,
got it.
Lindsey, I think he
not the ones who got her elected, the ones who voted for her. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. The what do you expect? You're gonna be talking about San Francisco people doing San Francisco things. The person who speaks to them like them is who's gonna win.
Yeah, you better wear some flowers in your hair too. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Because you'll meet some gentle people there. Had to. Sorry. On such a winter's day. Anyway. Oh, man. I love music jokes. Anyway. That said, we should probably mention something else out of Minnesota. And that is a pardon that went through over the last week. There's a Laotian man who enjoyed the company of girls. Note, I did not say women. 10-year-old girl, as a matter of fact, to the point of sexually abusing her. You know, the whole rape thing, as you will, on a minor, not even a teenager. Well, Tim Waltz, in his infinite wisdom, found out that this guy, well, he was going to get a detainer, an ICE detainer. And, well, Tim Waltz being Tim Waltz couldn't have that. You know, he's got his own he's got his constituents, after all. And his constituency would not stand for something like that. I mean, how could they? I mean, you'd be deporting a pedophile rapist. And, you know, that's unconscionable, obviously. So, you know, Waltz, you know, looking towards his constituents, his voting base, the people that love him, well, he pardoned the fella. Let him go. Like, hey, you know, you're good. Go on, go out there, live your life, enjoy, you know, the local Leering centers, you know, the child care centers. Get yourself a job at the local kindergarten, you know, whatever. I can't verify that these were things he said specifically. These are just allegations by those in the know that I am just sharing with you, of course. So, raped a 10-year-old girl. Tim Waltz says, "Oh, that's cool. Why don't you go get back on the street?" And so he did. And of course, Grand Vizier Rubio, as he is coming to be known, the man of many hats and coats and pants too, apparently, has made a call, made quite the call. So they got him. Called in, I think, the marshals, and got the guy, revoked the status, and he's on the way out. Which is
very cool.
Very much so. Like, for fuck's sake. And while we're talking about Minnesota, we should probably mention something else interesting from the area. So, oh no, that was a different one. I thought that the two of them had met up, so it looks like not. I will pass over that. I'd heard a story that like two of the male to females that have worked their way into Minnesota prisons have gotten together and are trying to adopt a kid or something crazy like that, but I'm not finding the article right offhand. So if I do, I will, I'll put that out for you. But if not, know that things are crazy. Now, what else have we got here? Man, I'd like to... I don't suppose there's really all that much to cover as far as the Patriot Front thing. Make of it what you will. But they did release a video, and it was gone within about 30 seconds. So I'm leaning a little bit less towards FedOp, and that the FedOp is actually that it's a FedOp. Who knows? Just going to keep an eye on things. As you may have noticed, as a long-term listener, Craig is fully in the camp of these guys are feds. The more I see, the more I think that there's probably some feds in there, but it doesn't seem like the group itself is federal. But, again, who knows? We'll see. All right. The sober men at clubs. That's more of a Britain thing, but in case you weren't aware, there's groups of sober men, men who, interestingly enough, have a religious conviction not to drink. Make of that what you will, that hang outside of clubs in Great Britain to offer rides to drunk girls. Swarthy men, obviously, bearing traditional British names such as Muhammad and Abdul, as you do. Moving right along from that dark tale, let's move to one that's just merely depressing. But for who? Well, I guess that's up to you to make up your mind. So according to recent information and, I guess, digging, Indian H-1Bs are about 90% fraudulent. So they're finding out, as we've reported on in a couple of cases, they're finding degreed farms. So in a recent, what do we got here? Former U.S. consular officer who worked in India stated 90% H-1B visa applications she reviewed involved fraudulent documents. Claim has gained renewed attention following major crackdown by Indian authorities, which we did report on that. And honestly, a little surprised to see Modi and his people doing this. But if they want to maintain any kind of relevance on the global stage, they're going to have to do this shit from top down, because boy, they have done poorly. Minus 10,000 Izzat. That's all I'm saying. So, as we stand currently, we have 11 Indian suspects arrested, over 100,000 counterfeit diplomas from 28 different universities, some going for as little as $1,400 a piece. They had printers, computers, seals, holograms, forged documents, the whole shebang. Everything you need to make a very legitimate appearing diploma or degree. They, let me see here, they're estimating that the network may have produced and circulated up to 1 million fake degrees over time. Ruminate on that as you will. And that Indians account for roughly 70% of all H-1Bs issued in the United States. So that is to say 83% of Indian H-1B holders are completely full of shit and are not the, quote, highly skilled labor that we ever so desperately need, if we're to believe the scions of industry.
They're all doctors, lawyers, and engineers.
That's goddamn right they are. Each and every one.
Us.
So what else? Oh, yeah, that's right. During the July 4th thing, there was a bunch of cool stuff that happened. I hope everybody had a wonderful Independence Day. Or, at the very least, that you had a nice weekend off. I myself managed to make it up to my state's 250 thing, and it was cool. It was nice. It was they had a lot of neat displays, a couple of cool rides, really excellent vendor row with some delicious foodstuffs, and a bunch of people showed up. In addition, there were flyovers in some places, at stadiums, at games, and just some flyovers that were done. I know D.C. had one. I believe a couple of major cities did. But in addition, in South Carolina, a few Apaches from the local base did a flyby at the beach. And absolutely epic. Like, low-flying Apaches running across the beach. Might as well have been playing Fortunate Son. It was full-on 100% hell yeah military. Cool stuff. Anyway, the pilots grounded almost immediately. All 8 pilots were suspended, but I've got some good news for you. Pete Hegseth, within 8 hours of the announcement, his very words, "We'll fix this. Carry on, Patriots." And he's since said that there will be no issues. So any potential reprimands or issues related to this Apache flyby will be resolved. And I like it. It's how it should be. Like, these guys, they're they're not going to have, gone out all fucking broken arrow and just been like, all right, let's get in these Apaches and fucking go. They're going to have talked to their commanders. They're going to have talked to their guys, their fuel techs and everything. Like, hey, why don't we do this thing? It'd be really cool. Well, we're not doing any operations or exercises, so it's fine. This is, of course, conjecture on my part, but, make of it what you will. They're just trying to spread the cheer, if you like. And I like it. I'm for it. I think it's a great thing to do. The more that we can kind of bring unity back into the discussion about America, the better. Really. So, man. Now, I've got another article here too that I'll grab a link to and throw down below that kind of goes into the same things, in this case not so much regarding India but Pakistan, other third world countries, where all their they bribe the testators. So there you go. So actually I'll grab another link here because somebody did the research, and I'll share it with you, obviously, just in brief, but I will include a link below because he does go into some good detail in how it's done. But the long and short is basically, in India at least, you'll get like group chats on Telegram, Signal, what have you, or WeChat, whatever, and they'll all go in and take these exams, and then they will pool all of their questions because there's only so many questions, and they cycle these questions not even yearly, maybe every other year. So they've got the full question pool, and then they study from the pool. Which means, that's why you get these absolute dog shit doctors and lawyers and engineers and such. Because they studied quite literally to the test and know nothing. It is what it is. Let's see here. There's a great big flood in China. It's still ongoing. Lots of people displaced. Not the Three Gorges, but pretty sizable. So there have been a lot of good human stories coming out about that. I haven't seen a lot of really ugly stuff. Like we're not saving these people because they're the wrong voters or whatever. This generally seems like the Chinese are kind of coming together to do the right thing for each other, and well, she's not fucking it up, as one might expect. So in other groundbreaking news, honestly, a McDonald's employee, I should say former McDonald's employee, has recently had an international airport dedicated in their honor. You may or may not have heard this, dear listener, but which one was it? It's the one in Florida, the Palm Beach one. They changed it. It was something like Palm Beach International or something. Now it's President Donald J. Trump International Airport. yeah. I had to. Well, what can you say? I'm going to do it. So, what else? Mexico. Yeah. So that guy that was here for 35 years. That didn't bother to try and become a citizen, that basically just kept on breaking the law every single day, day in, day out, didn't bother, assimilating, nothing. Mexico is apparently going to try and bring some fucking charges or some shit against the U.S. because he tried to run over an ICE agent and learned quickly that was a foolish maneuver. So, good luck, I guess, Claudia. You're never going to live down that side profile. Never, ever going to live down that that Grabbler mercantile side profile. Me, oh my. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, another one out of New York. Mom Donnie, he was celebrating all the diversity that makes New York City great. Except for he accidentally forgot Little Italy. Oops. They're probably not the right kind of diverse, as no one would be surprised to learn. Today, mind you. Now, if you were to ask Bill the Butcher, he would give you a little bit of a different story. No. Nah. Even though we can say it, I think I'm gonna refrain. Just for safety's sake. Alright. So what else? We like to close with some good news, so why don't we do that? We've been here long enough, and there's well, actually, before we do that, was there anything you wanted to cover, Steve?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just hopping in and seeing what's going on.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so let's bust out some very interesting news. So out of Norway, we've got a patient cured of HIV. Apparently not AIDS, so it would have been early and not full blown at this point, so probably easier to deal with. But the interesting point was getting a leukemia treatment, and the treatment in this case a stem cell transplant, and it was from a sibling, and was adequate to fight off the HIV, which isn't the strangest thing. It's just it's very interesting because the only other kind of instance of HIV or AIDS being cured, quote unquote, is Magic Johnson, and the way he did it is blood cleaning and blood transfusions and blood transfusions and blood transfusions and blood transfusions and blood transfusions. That man has none of his own blood, and hasn't for some while, and apparently that can be adequate. So interesting times. Let me see if I can find an article that's actually got a proper write-up, because I don't have... here we go. The Oslo patient out of eatg.org. Let me grab that. HIV remission. Yeah. From the brother. Okay. So there you go. Let me throw that link in below. Is there anything particularly noteworthy? Oh, 10 people, apparently, not just the 2. So there are 8 others that have gone into a remission after receiving blood treatments. Absolutely fascinating. Here we go. I'll throw the Medical Express link, because that'll actually have more good data for you. And yeah, there we go. That's a nice long article. That'll work well. So we'll throw that one in for you. Let me see here. I got a couple more. As said, if... oh, actually, just a quick reminder. Craig had mentioned this last week, but... excuse me. If you happen to see a newly installed piece of surveillance that is not on your property per se, but on public property, there's no law against, seeing if a bag manages to fit over top of it. It might not. Only way to learn is to try. Now then, the other one. Oh yeah, just a quick mention, because as anyone who's listened for forever knows, I kind of hate media. But as you will have learned, I am ever so carefully dipping my toes back in. So as said previously, Citizen Vigilante, very solid B action with a good message. I recommend it. But beyond that,
see it.
It's solid. It's worth your while, definitely.
It's on my to-do list.
It's on Amazon and like all the streaming things, but it has since then, it's actually been cleared for a theatrical release in Britain, and now at 18 plus only, also in Britain, but also in Germany, where it was initially banned. So congratulations, Uwe Boll. But anyway, that said, there's a new anime that is getting a lot of attention, I guess would be the most appropriate way to call it. Yumi Neko, or wait, Yanni Neko, excuse me. It's about a chain-smoking cat girl, and I don't want to ruin it because it's actually quite good, and it gets my recommendation. It tackles some really important topics in kind of a funny and entertaining way. And I will say this: if you've ever found yourself at the whims of a vice, there is a lot in this cartoon to appreciate. It's worth your while. Like, just legitimately pretty solid. Alright, now, we've got that one. What's the other one? We could... Yeah, this isn't good or bad per se, but interesting. So a lot of women out of Australia are looking to America, but not for anything related to FIFA or even, for that matter, related to vacations. No, Australian women are looking to U.S. and Western Europe specifically for sperm donors, white sperm donors. As a matter of fact, they're wanting people that are like them. Can you imagine how peculiar? Because apparently in much of Australia there's plenty of other sperm to be had, but not a lot that they're after. Interestingly.
Interesting. Well, in any case, with that, I actually have to take off, my friend.
That's fair, sir. Well, just to preview you before you walk out the door, we got some cool gun news.
Really?
Yeah. ATF might have a new rule coming down to where they're going to drop the whole zero tolerance bullshit and just view everything as an individual case. So that could be cool. But that said, brother, you get yourself a wonderful sleep. Have a great week. And everybody, you can find Steve at Ratman720 on all the places. You can, of course, find my man Craig, CraigBob99, at all the places. I'm Evan at that fake idea. Not all the places. You can't find me on the Cyborg Lizard site, so no Facebook. Sorry. So, with that said, let's go into this here. So, Gunners of America is basically, they're loving what's going on with the ATF in this particular instance. So, as we reported during the Biden era, which honestly ended up in one of Hillary's employees getting killed, not by Hillary, crazy enough, or I should say one of the Clinton associates, but one of the Clinton era, people ended up getting shot. We reported on that. The guy got a crazy no-knock raid at the middle of the night, and they took him out, as they are wont to do. And, well, that's that, as previously reported, is getting looked into. But this sort of zero-tolerance bullshit, which is like if you have one screw-up, like, oh, you forgot to put Clark as the middle name on the fucking thing, so Mr. Kent isn't going to be able to get his... Not only is Mr. Kent going to have to fill out a new 4473, we're sending the fucking ATF to shut you down, take all your paperwork, make you sell all your guns, this, that, and the other. All that bullshit that we reported on. So, very much. Well, it looks like that will be headed the way of the dodo based on early reporting for the new ATF final rule. So, let's hope. Proposed rule isn't perfect, but it is a step in the right direction, and we need to strengthen it. Spencer Pratt wrote, head of the GOA, by the way. That's why we're calling on all GOA members to make their voices heard and submit our model comment to the ATF. And let me see if there's a link to that here. Excellent. So I'll throw a link to the Truth About Guns article, which down at the bottom you can find a link to the ATF form wherein you can issue your own comment. Please do so. Now, let me think. I feel like I had one or two other really noteworthy things to cover. So let me just double check. Man, I feel like I had something really, really noteworthy here. Yeah, we've got, well, we've covered the nuclear reactors that are going to be going in. So, that's something. One of them achieved criticality, but obviously we told you about that a few weeks back. Man, I really feel like there's something I'm missing. Oh, we got the Pal World thing. Yeah, like I said, still going to say $29.99 because they're awesome. I am sure that I'm missing something. I don't know. I don't know. Man. Well, it is what it is. If I remember it as I'm closing out, I will be happy to share with you. Aside from that, I guess if you, again, like last week, we were recommending if you have found something on your property, perhaps on a pole, that appears to be powered by solar power that you didn't authorize to be there, just make note of what your local legal situation is for abandoned property, and once you have reached whatever requisite there is for said property, well, it's yours to do with as you please. So, do with it precisely as you please. In that note, actually, let me grab this link here to a flock camera that's being installed pointed at the entrance of an Academy Sports. If you're not familiar with an Academy, if you don't have one locally, very much like any other sporting goods store, but a very, very sizable shooting goods section. So, that's an interesting choice on where to put such a thing. Very, very interesting. Let's see here. I think we mentioned that Plattner's out. We may or may not have, but if somehow you missed it, Plattner has finally actually called the... I do have another good one. Perfect. Yes. Okay. We'll close with that. So, yeah, Plattner is out. It would appear that being a Nazi isn't enough, beating your wife isn't enough, beating previous girlfriends isn't enough, being a philanderer isn't enough, but by golly, the rape accusations drop. Well, that's the story of you, bud. That's the story of you. And so, he's out. Yeah. With that, we've got, all sorts of people are, each and every of the usual suspects is coming out and saying, I was never supportive of him. Hassan, Chris Murphy, fucking everybody. It's, the dishonesty is humorous. Quite humorous. Okay, so, let's drop something good on you. Something good to close out the night. Let me get the, see if I can get the actual article up here. From the Oklahoma Farm Report, John Deere reinforces commitment to diagnostic and repair tools for farmers under agreement with FTC and states. So, real long and short here is people at the top finally came down and said, hey, these people own these products. Being that they own these products, they need to be able to do whatever they want with them. AKA, fix them. And, well, now they're going to be able to. So John Deere has done an about-face, as you might say, legally requested, if not required. I'll read their statement. Tee-hee. We've said from the beginning that our focus is on helping customers keep their machines running when and how they need them, said Caldwell. This agreement bolsters that commitment, and we're confident it will make a real difference for people who depend on our equipment every day. Yes, Mr. Caldwell, it most assuredly will, now that you have to hold up your end of the bargain. Anyway, we share the administration's and state's desire to put farmers first while preserving Deere's ability to support American agricultural productivity, equipment safety, and innovation. And basically, they couched all this in equipment safety and innovation and our patents and this and that and the other, and that, well, we just can't bring these out into the open. Why, no, we can't do that. Then who knows what someone might do. Well, that is done. And they will have to offer support to their customer base, as once they did. So, you can expect some kind of release on, their firmware If I don't know if I'd necessarily expect them to be putting it up on GitHub or anything, but they're going to have to put something out, even if it's like last year's version of the software, what have you. They're in the position that they have to do it, so I like it. It's long been needed, honestly. To see this done as such is excellent. These people, these companies need to be held to task, and they need to honor their customer base. So, an excellent development. Let me think. Is there anything else that I need to tell you about? Nothing's really coming to mind. So let me just make sure. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, yeah. Some congressman was on crack. Duh, who cares? But, okay. Oh, you know what? Just a by the by, an absolute by the by, is if you're not in deep on the Sony thing, I'll just grab a quick once over on this, because any number of people have really explained it better than I have. Long and short, if there's no physical media, aside from the whole you will own nothing and you will be happy, you only have one source of your media. So if PlayStation cancels discs, you can only get PlayStation games from PlayStation, or Sony if you like. So it monopolizes the market for them. Unsurprisingly, pretty keen on it. Go fucking figure. So yeah, I think that's about all I need to cover. I guess. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, you know what? Just to sign us off for the night, we've got a great poll. Great poll. Now let me see if I've got the actual source of the polling. Unfortunately, I do not. So we'll have to assume it's at least somewhat objective. So let's hope for Quinnipiac or maybe Bloomberg. Those are pretty reasonable. Anyway, maybe Rasmussen. Don't know. Anyway, polling numbers are that 94.7% of Americans disapprove of flock cameras, with 88.2% ready to, quote, take action if they aren't removed. And all I can say is, I ain't see shit. I didn't see nothing, and neither did you. And with that, my good friends, again, I'm Evan at That Fake Guy Dan. Look for my friend Steve at Ratman720 and Craig at CraigBob99 on the Twitters, the X, whatever you like to call it. And by golly, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, truly, from the bottom of my little heart for tuning in. I am happy to do this every week, and just to see it grow, and just to see some folks out there appreciating the time and effort that not only myself but my co-hosts are putting in to make this into something worthwhile and interesting. Well, thank you. Legitimately. And again, like, comment, subscribe, share the links, do all the things. We only grow on your grace. So thanks. Back again soon. And with that, well, the world's pretty crazy, so keep your head on a swivel.